Some brands offer you low finance, or cashback, or servicing.
Renault don't do ors. We do ands. The Renault Kadjar with 1.91% APR and €1,000 cashback and 3 years servicing, saving you thousands. Renault, the brand with the ands. Visit your local Renault dealer. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. See Renault.ie.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
There is nothing to worry about. You're gonna be just fine.
We all go a little mad sometimes. I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Have you checked the children?
Stay on the road. Keep clear to the moors.
Beware the moonlights.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
They're all gonna laugh at you! They're all gonna laugh at you! They're all gonna laugh at you!
Who's laughing now?
Who's laughing
now? It's the After Movie Diner and a month of Horrotober, and they're watching horror films. That's why they call it Horrotober. Yeah, it's the After Movie Diner in the month of October. They're watching horror films, that's why they call it Horrotober. 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 Horrotober.
Hello, I hope everyone is sitting comfortably, unless you voted for Trump or think guns are a good idea, in which case I hope you're sitting on a large spike rubbed liberally with hot pepper sauce. Welcome, if you can, to the second in our Horrotober series of podcasts, and boy do we have an exciting one for you tonight. Well, actually we can't guarantee excitement, but we can guarantee length. This episode will most definitely have quite length. Girth, or the substance, if you will, is up to the listener and not for me to presume. So please write to us at hello@aftermoviediner.com or leave us a voicemail over at 347-669-0053 or at speakpipe.com/aftermoviediner and tell us how you found our girth. Remembering again that I'm talking about a film discussion and not some sort of collective penis made up from the members of me and my guests tonight. Talking about my guests, our first guest this evening was forged deep in the fires of Mount Trevor, a rocky outcrop somewhere near the Valley of Thighs, by a wizard known only to his close friends as Celia. He knows exactly which Dragon Ball Z characters he'd fuck, marry, or kill. He has a surprisingly in-depth knowledge of the cleavage of obscure Japanese cartoon characters, and he's so geeky and so black that he makes Donald Glover look like Danny Glover, who I'm pretty sure once French-kissed Mel Gibson, who, as we all know, is a complete and total cunt squirrel. Please welcome back on the show, your friend and mine, the guy who I try and use to assuage my horrendous white guilt, one of the three of the almighty three Black Geeks. Ladies and germs, it's the legend, D. Shaw.
Oh my God, I laughed so hard. Holy shit. First off, only I can name that wizard that name. You're not allowed to use that word. You use that name, okay, sir? That is my privilege, not yours. Okay. And second of all, yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Yes, you can.
I can. I mean, I'm sorry. Yes, I can. Say who I fuck, marry, kill, and everybody on Dragon Ball Z. It's actually kind of easy. I think you can do it. Anybody can do that. That's
I can definitely do it. Yeah.
Anybody can do that.
Mo can definitely do it. Mo can definitely do it. That's really easy. Yeah. The challenge for that is actually Sailor Moon. That's when it becomes a challenge.
He's not wrong.
He is not wrong. So, wedged uncomfortably between D and myself is a man, well, What can we say that hasn't already been said? He can fart the national anthem of Belize. He owns 75 black hoodies, all emblazoned with the famous actresses that he's done terrible butt stuff to in his mind. He once wrestled a silver black gorilla for his copy of an obscure and unreleased Todd Sheets movie that was so tit-heavy even the foliage had breasts. And his beard once solved an argument between Menachem Begin and an otter named Terence, who was a staunch defender of Palestine. He rides a mean tortoise, plays an angry ukulele, writes a downright petulant game of Dungeons and Dragons, and has a huge warehouse in the Antarctic filled with enormous rubbery dongs in case of an apocalypse where it's just him and heavily bushed playmates of the 70s left. It's the one, my bro from a t'other hoe, it's Sir Mosef Porn. Gentlemen, good evening.
Yes. Thank you.
It's becoming really difficult, Mo, to outdo all the intros that I've written for you in the past.
No, more so the 70s bushes. I'm like, that's exactly what Mo wants.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, no. I mean, the only thing better than a 70s bush is an 80s bush. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The only thing as good as a 70s bush is an 80s bush. But really only up to 84, and then they just start getting terrible.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you get to 2001 Bush, which we will talk about later when we cover Bad Karma, it's disappointing because it's just not as grotesquely and or graphically huge as it should be. But no, Mo and I go way back on the subject of Bush, and we are firmly in the staunch 70s rug camp, I think.
We go all the way back with Bush to the Bush era.
Right, exactly. So that's fantastic. So how have you both been, and what have you been watching so far for Horrotober?
Go ahead, D. You can go first.
Well, you know, usually I don't. It's funny. Usually, Three Black Geeks doesn't really go into any horror, but this year I decided, because we did last year, we started to do actually more horror movies, and even, I guess, what you call supernatural, because that's what we just got. Well, that's not even supernatural. That was space aliens. Barely. We did Signs. We just did that was barely space aliens. I mean, it was more on faith, and it was like terribly written when you really think about it. But whatever.
Swing away, D. Swing away.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You know what? Even if it was great because it was DJ Sue Eris. He didn't watch the movie at all. He had to actually do something else. So it was just
that
me and
lucky bastard.
It was
That's
just
fantastic.
me and Chris.
I saw that fucking movie in the theaters.
Oh my gosh! You know what? I never seen, only Shyamalan movie I seen in the theaters was actually The Village, and that was probably the top 3 times I was like literally pissed off, ready to like punch the person that gave me the ticket. That is one of the few times I've ever been really, really mad. So
remember, people, it takes a village to fuck D off.
You know what? Here was the sick part. It was actually my best friend. Me and him was watching it. This motherfucker leans into me 15 minutes in. Hey, D, I think I already know what the twist is. Like, shut the fuck up. So we get about it's later, right? I lean in. He said, you gonna tell me what the twist is? I'm gonna walk out this motherfucker if we find out that all of this is taking place in present time. He said, that's stupid as hell. I was just going to say like the monster was like some Scooby-Doo character or some bullshit like that. Come to find out that we were both right and we were both pissed off.
I classically predicted the twist from The Sixth Sense from the trailer.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, completely. Totally.
Yeah, just fucking ridiculous.
Fucking thing. We was like 2 minutes in, he's dead. I'm like, what are you talking about, Dad? He's dead already.
He's dead.
Yeah. Bullshit, Dad.
The only movie of his that I've ever enjoyed is Unbreakable. That's the only movie of his I've ever liked.
Yeah, they should do something. They should do a Shyamalan movie where he's really a dead superhero who is, it looks like it's in period time, but actually it's in modern time, and he's having to fight the trees because they're really the villains. That would be the ultimate Shyamalama Ding Dong movie, I think.
See, I was gonna say that the first like 15, 20 minutes of The Happening is amazing. Like, I went into that thinking to myself, shit, this might actually be a really good movie. And then it's the fucking plants. And I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. And then Mark Wahlberg's talking to a bush. And
and not a good 70s time.
Yeah, right. He's sitting there going, oh, hey, Mr. Bush, say hi to your mother for me. You know, it's just fucking fantastic.
Man, it's funny. We did that last year. Now, we did that last year, too. And it's funny. I said that Signs was my favorite one because out of all the stuff he did, that was the only one I didn't really feel that was too heavy and all this. But look at it again, I can't fucking stand it. But but now to me, it's The Happening. The Happening's my favorite because it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, The Happening.
It's like really idiotic.
So yeah.
It's so stupid. It makes me happy inside. So I like that, and I like the other movie he made, Devil. I actually kind of like Devil because Devil was just as fucking stupid.
Was that the elevator movie? The one where they're all in the elevator?
Yeah, that's what you might as well call it, the elevator movie. God.
He'd seen Lift and then gone, what if we make it? Yeah, what if we just add the devil to it? And I'm like, really? The devil's going to show up in an elevator? All right, Shyamalan, here we go. Strap in. It's going to be a bumpy ride, ladies and gentlemen.
It made it the best part about it was that Shyamalan did what most screenwriters do. They fall back on the Spanish person being into the supernatural more than anybody in the room. And he picked the dumbest thing. My grandma said every time toast falls on the jelly side, that means the devil is like, what type of bullshit is that? Did you just wake up and say it? It's like, yo, Shyamalan, did you just wake up and say, all right, I just thought of something really, really dumb. This will be perfect for the movie. Is that what you did? Is that what you really did?
Mo, I'm going to ask you something. You've got to picture this, right? You know, like riff tracks where they talk over the top of the movie and you can buy the DVDs and stuff, or Mystery Science Theater. I would love a series of movies where, and it's exactly the normal movie, but occasionally D pops up and goes, what kind of fucking shit is that? Like, that I would pay good money for a whole DVD series of just D occasionally in the movie be like, Toast, are you fucking kidding me? Toast.
It'd be like those old pop-up video things, and it's just D's head popping up and going, you have got to be fucking kidding me.
Okay, see, that's funny because me and Chris basically got to be part of the DC Critics list. We got to go to all the advances, right? So we actually went to see what was that? Not Prometheus, the other one, the one that just happened. Alien Covenant. We did see Covenant.
Right, yeah.
So, oh my gosh, every so often you would hear me and Chris, what? And it would make it so funny. It was so funny. We went to see before that. It was the XXX movie, which, good God, that was terrible. But
and I can normally stand Vin Diesel, but I saw the first XXX. I saw the first XXX, and I was like, forget that, because I liked his. Like, I loved The Witch Hunter. Like, I thought The Witch Hunter was like perfect Vin Diesel stupidity. Like, I really enjoyed that.
you know, Vin Diesel actually did when The Witch Hunter came out. He did a brief like one-shot D&D session with one of my favorite online GMs, and it was fucking terrible. Vin, I mean, like the man appreciates Dungeons and Dragons, but he does not know how to play. He's like, he's just like, I'm gonna swing my hammer, you know.
Yeah.
And it was fucking ridiculous. And he was playing like his Witch Hunter character for the thing. It was called what was it called? It was called D and Diesel, I believe they called it.
That's so fucking stupid. That's genius.
That actually sounds like a really, 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 really appropriate porno title. Actually, that really
right.
No, D, I was just gonna say, like, if Vin ever falls on hard times and has to do like gay porn to get out of the financial slump, it could be D and Diesel. That's what it would be, like Dick and Diesel.
Yeah. It was so funny, but we was looking at XXX, and this time it was different. It was like all like the audience. It was like, you know, like it was like people that would come in for the screener, and then it would be the critics up top, and all the critics sat up top this time. So while you hear some people in the crowd, you know, just being like, you know, just saying what I like to call trailer bait, like, you know how they would show clips of people watching Paranormal Activity and they would act like they're scared.
Yeah.
They were doing that crap, like, ooh, awesome. And I forgot what scene it was. And before I can yell out what, it was actually my buddy. He was on the other end of the movie theater. He said, "What the fuck is this?" So I learned that, hey, that's my avenue. But yeah, outside of horror, and I'll just wrap it up like this. Outside of all the horror stuff we watched, we were watching the good anime called Hellsing Ultimate. We're going to do that this year. We didn't get to last year. I love Hellsing. It's really good. My wife is in love with that whole series, so I know it front to back. So it'll be great for me. It'll be great to go through. We're going to do the worst Halloween movie, in my opinion, which is Halloween, I think, was it Resurrection? The one where it was
so fucking bad.
Oh, I hate that movie. I hate that movie. And I remember I took my girlfriend to see that movie.
Well, it's my favorite.
So mad
it's my favorite of the series. No, I'm kidding.
It's my favorite Busta Rhymes movie, but
sadly, no, it can't be. I got to check what other movies Busta Rhymes was in. Actually,
no, it might not be. But with Resurrection, they committed the cardinal sin, which was that they killed Laurie Strode. Like, I wouldn't have minded had they done an 8th one. Like, because at the end of 7, obviously he's decapitated and Laurie goes off and lives in the hills or whatever. Like, I wouldn't have minded if 8 was just like Michael in a totally different area and it didn't follow on the Laurie Strode story and they did the reality TV thing and whatever and blah, 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 blah. But tying it to the rest of the franchise and then killing Laurie Strode is, in the eyes of a Halloween fan like myself, absolutely unfucking forgivable.
I mean, it's a sin. It's a sin. And I've even seen the director's cut of, what was the one before, the one with Paul Rudd? I saw the director's cut of that.
Was that Ant-Man? You mean 6. You mean 6. Halloween 6, which is there's a producer's cut. It's not a director's. It's the producer's cut. Yeah.
I saw, and it flows so much better. Loomis, Donald Pleasance, which, yes, sir, I do have a love for Donald Pleasance.
Donnie P.
So much more of him in it, and the flow of the story makes a lot more sense. Yeah, so I saw that. But the main one we're going to do for Halloween, well, at least our Halloween one that is going to come out on the day of Halloween, is going to be Candyman. And
nice.
Holy shit, that movie actually scares me. It's like one of the 4 horror movies that I'm actually scared of. So
it's one of the few, like, I called it for a long time because I fucking love Candyman, and I love it because, like, you're right, it's a really creepy, sick, scary movie that takes place, unlike a lot of other horror films which always take place in the woods or like in the suburbs. It takes place like in the city, like in the city center, around the city, which is difficult to do because obviously, like, normally you have like tons of people around and it's not easy to kind of, something like a Maniac Cop kind of gets away with it, but not really. There aren't many kind of what they call like urban horrors, but Candyman is not only like one of the few urban horrors, but it's one of the most successful ones. And then, despite all the other stuff that it says, but then there's also that awesome thing in the middle of it where the long-haired, effeminate British guy who like talks to Virginia Madsen around dinner table, and he tells the story of the Candyman. His like description of the story of Candyman and the way he speaks is, to me, a complete hilarious delight, because he says things like, they slathered the honey on his prone, naked body. Like, the way he talks is just fucking genius. I fucking love him. And he says things like, he made all his money by developing a machine for the mass production of shoes. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is that got to do with anything? Like, I love that kind of detail. It's fucking brilliant.
I think... Yeah, for me, it is one of the... I only remember it because the main thing I remember, I was like, I was in the 4th grade, maybe 5th grade when it came out. And everybody did the whole thing, turn off the lights and say Candyman in the mirror. And during that time, that legit scared me as a kid. And then I saw the movie, and then it really scared me shitless. And
yeah, and it's like a proper, like, gory, grimy film as well. I mean,
it really is.
The bit in the hospital where she's like covered in blood and they have to take her clothes off and inject her and do all that kind of stuff. Like, that's genuinely, just from a human standpoint, forget the fucking horror element of it, just from a human standpoint, that like makes your skin crawl and makes you feel incredibly sorry for her. But then like the bit where she's in the psychiatrist's office and Candyman appears behind the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist just starts spitting and pissing blood everywhere, like that to me was like one of the most terrifying sequences I had seen in a film for a long time. Like, I really,
it reminds me of and I saw that not too long ago, the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, where I will say it doesn't scare me, but when I see Freddy and the way he was, holy shit.
Definitely.
Really legit scary.
Yeah, so, Freddy is legitimately scary in only 2 of those movies.
Yeah, only 2 of the movies. Only 2 of the movies is really legit scary.
First one and New Nightmare. Thank you, Mo. God, I love you, dude.
You know what, and Mo, thank you for that, because I actually seen New Nightmare. When you told me to watch it, I saw it probably 2 months or whatever, sometime later after that, and I was like, holy shit, that son of a bitch was right.
Sometimes I'm right.
It ain't sometimes you're right. You know what it was? It was sort of like how if you meet somebody who says, "Ooh, I like slashers," and they tell you to skip Halloween 3, it's like, no, fuck you. Watch that when you were like,
No, if somebody tells you they like slasher films and then tells you to skip Halloween 3, then they don't like slasher films. Because Halloween 3. Because frankly, and I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, and from the public, not from you guys, and I don't care, but Halloween 3 is the second best Halloween movie.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes.
I love Season of the Witch. I hated it for a long time, and then I sat down and because you have to get yourself out of the Michael Myers mindset for Halloween 3. You have to look at it as its own movie, and as its own movie, it's fucking fantastic.
That I'll agree with. I can't say it's my second favorite Halloween movie because I don't really think of it as a Halloween movie, meaning Halloween the franchise.
Right.
Like, it's one of my favorite horror movies. Like, it's one of my favorite Tom Atkins movies. It's one of my favorite, like, horror ideas. But it's not, like, of the Halloween franchise, I always remove it. Because I always go by, and I've said this multiple times, but I always go by 1, 2, and 7 is the Laurie Strode story. And then 4, 5, and 6 is, like, the niece story, followed by, like, the Man in Black kind of story. But, like, I always think of those 2 trilogies, and that's really where I kind of end with the Halloween franchise.
Well, it's the same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, honestly, it's 1, 3, and New Nightmare.
Right.
You know, and while I appreciate 2, it's not a great movie.
No. I was going to ask you that because I like to, but
I do like it. I do like it, but it's like 2 is 4th on the ranked list, so to speak.
I understand that because I feel that same way about
but literally everything else. I just pass. I just skip on because I don't care for them at all.
I kind of feel that way I feel that same way with the Jason movies. Actually, I never ranked the Jason movies.
Honestly, I think there's only 2 Jason movies I actually like.
And that's Jason Takes Manhattan. And
everybody likes that movie for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, of course. I like
Jason X, of course.
I like Take Manhattan only for one reason, and I feel as though that I'm alone in it. I love the deaths in that movie. Yeah, I love the depth in that movie so much.
I think, the biggest problem with the Friday the 13th franchise is how it got, more than any other horror franchise out there, it got edited to shit by the studios. And a lot of that footage of, like, cut death scenes and things either wasn't shot, got lost, or is only in, like, work print quality, and Paramount don't want to pay to have it, like, put back on a 35 and then digitized onto, like, Blu-ray or whatever. Because I think if you had all the kills in the Friday the 13th franchise in their truly intended special effects, gore-heavy way, then it would be a much better kick-ass franchise than it actually is. Like
You're probably right. Yeah.
I always feel like if you look at 7, right, which is a really great idea, like Halloween, Friday the 13th Part 7 is basically like Carrie versus Jason, and it's a really great idea, but all the deaths in that movie, of which there was meant to be like a triple decapitation, and there's the bit with the sleeping bag, and there's the bit with bending the guy in half, and a whole bunch of other stuff. All the deaths in that have been like edited out and neutered, and there's no kind of full version out there. And I think that's where that franchise really falls down, because once you start to get to like 8, 9, I know people hate 9, but it's where you first start getting like real gore and effects back into the franchise, because it's K and B effect. And then once you get to like 10, and he's like smashing people's faces that have been dried in nitrogen and stuff, like. And they're
Don't try to say that too quickly. Don't try to say that too quickly.
No, but like once you start smashing people's faces and stuff, there's real gore in it. Like the deaths get really like that franchise kind of takes off again. But unfortunately, it takes off at the end of the franchise when it's really sort of run out of any actual ideas of a storyline, and that's the shame. Like 4 is probably of the entire franchise. 4 is probably the strongest film in terms of start to finish, cool deaths, interesting characters, and like cult, goofy, weird, funny bits with Crispin Glover and.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the one with Crispin Glover. I forgot which one. I thought that was the 5th one. Yeah, thank you. That's the one I like the most.
Yeah,
that's the one I like the most.
That's a good one. But like apart from that, and maybe like bits of 7, bits of 1. And maybe bits of 10. There are and like the Manhattan bits of actually Manhattan, which I still claim Jason Takes Manhattan is a better movie than people give it credit for. If it was called Jason on a Cruise Liner, people would have gone in with much better expectations, because people go in with the expectations of him hacking sways through fucking Times Square and up the Empire State Building.
That's the thing I hate it. He did that last year for Halloween too, and we was like, so he took Manhattan, guys. Like, took what? What the fuck did he take? The only thing he did was kick a boombox and killed a couple of people that was on the same cruise ship as him. He didn't take nothing.
Well, now that he's taken Manhattan, now he needs to take Berlin.
Right. So anyway, guys, we're a few minutes into the show, so let's move over to Mo. Quickly run down what you've watched so far in Horrotober. And
I was going to say, now that we've talked for a half an hour, do I get to answer the question?
Yeah. Listen, it's a Halloween Horrotober episode, so we should be talking horror movies. And right. I don't know how much we're going to have to say on the 3 films that I sadly picked, and I can't apologize enough for.
That's totally fine. Honestly, so far, my list is very sparse because I've literally watched the 3 movies we're going to talk about tonight, and I watched Terror Vision that I'm covering on a future episode of the Projection Booth, which we recorded last night actually, and who knows when it's going to come out. But that was super fun. I love Terror Vision. Like, it's just such a ridiculously fun, stupid, hilarious movie. And I don't think it gets the credit that it really, truly deserves, because that movie is subversive as shit.
Yeah.
It's great satire, and has some and one of the other guys who was on the show had pointed out something that, or it might have been Mike. One of them pointed out something that I didn't even notice, and I've seen this movie a million times, and I've never noticed. There's no swearing and there's no blood in the entire movie. It's like, and like I sit back and I think about that, like, holy shit, you're right. Like, every time somebody goes to swear, it's like it's some weird, distortion of like a weird 50s swear.
Right.
And the blood is always green or blue. There's no actual blood. It's like they were going for like a PG-13 on this movie that involves an alien coming to Earth and eating everybody.
Yeah,
that's a great fucking movie though.
Terror Vision. Everyone should check that out if they haven't already.
Absolutely.
We haven't done an episode on it, but wasn't it packaged on a Blu-ray with the video dead? Wasn't that a double bill?
Yeah,
no, because we covered the Video Dead, so Terrorvision we haven't covered, but that's why it was in my mind because of that. And in terms of what I've watched, apart from the 3 movies we've seen tonight, I also watched Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou, whatever it's called, which I've covered before on the show, so I won't go into that, but it's a damn good movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
The first one was better than me.
Yeah? You don't like all the fantasy sequences and the Michael Ironside-ness of the sequel?
Look, here's the thing. I didn't say nothing wrong with Michael Ironside. There's nothing wrong with Michael Ironside.
There's a lot wrong with Michael Ironside, but not in the movies, no.
There's a lot wrong with him, but not in this movie, no. Right. I always say that with Michael Ironside. He either kills a movie or he's the one that's like truly saving the movie. And that one is kind of a little bit of both for me. So I don't know.
Yeah. I still can't get over when it comes to like early Canadian horrors that he was in. I still can't get over him in his little leather pants in Visiting Hours. So I have a real difficulty getting past that image of a greasy Ironside packed into some leather pants. So,
a greasy Ironside.
He is, man. He's so sweaty in fucking Visiting Hours. It's grotesque.
I can actually think of a movie though. There is one that comes to mind that he's not. He's both. He's neither a detriment or the person carrying the entire movie, and that's Turbo Kid.
True.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's fine. He's amazing in it, but like the rest of the actors are perfectly, suited to their roles, and he's not terrible in it. So,
he's awesome in that movie.
Just popping that out there.
And then the other thing, because Kim was a really big fan of The Conjuring, so we went and watched the sequel, which neither of us had seen, The Conjuring Part 2. And people know that I'm not normally like a huge fan of like ghost horror or doors banging or whatever. Like I have no fucking time for any of that stuff. The Conjuring I did quite enjoy. Like it was nice. It was set in the 70s and like it had some stuff going for it, and it was good.
How much Bush?
Not enough for my taste. Vera Farmiga did not reveal her 70s Bush in quite the way that I would have liked. But someone hangs himself from a tree, which is like a big bush. So, but no, the first Conjuring was fine. I did enjoy that for what it was. Although I can't say that those kind of films are ever kind of scary to me. It's not really my thing.
No, I understand that. I hate how this last generation of horror movies were pretty much nothing but jump scares.
Scares, right. And the thing that was interesting to me about The Conjuring 2 in its sort of failure for my particular taste was that the tension that it built up, certainly towards the first half of the movie, with some of the sequences and some of the things, especially when it was like dark in the house and they were just using the flashlight and the girls didn't know what was going on and there was possibly a Ouija board and the girl was possibly seeing something that we couldn't see and stuff like that. There was like some nice set up tension. And what I always thought was crazy was when it actually got to like the jump scare, when it actually got to like the payoff of the tension, it was like the jump scare was never as scary as I thought it could have been. Like I found the whole thing like depressingly sort of PG. Do you know what I mean? Like there was no, like there was plenty of occasions where the payoff to the tension could have been like a really grotesque, sick thing that could have really like jolted you out of your seat, or at least been a payoff to the tension. And instead it wasn't. Like instead like a fucking chest of drawers flipped over, or, someone flipped up on the ceiling, or like even the bit where
I know what you're talking about. It reminds me of Insidious was the same way. I thought Insidious, the first one, did a lot of really good tension, and it had a decent payoff. But I know what you mean where you say it could have been something a little bit more grotesque or a little bit more scary. I know exactly what you mean by that, and I hate that. I hate that too. I really do. I hate it. Especially when they actually take the time to set up tension. You know what I mean? Because a lot of horror movies don't like doing that.
Yeah, and my whole thing is that if you're, first of all, they seem to be pushing the story. Like, this is a real story, and this is what really happened, and these are some of the things, and da-da-da-da-da. Like, they seem to be pushing the story pretty hard. And my feeling was, if you're going to push the story really hard, the story has to be therefore more interesting than there is an old man possessing a young girl, and then, oh, wait, actually it's a demon possessing the old man that's possessing a girl. Like, there has to be more to it than that. You know what I mean? And it very quickly kind of shot off the rails of any kind of truth or any kind of basis in whatever the original story was, and just went kind of wild and stupid with it. And then, you had this idea of this really cool, like, creepy nun demon, and instead all you did was like, oh, it's a nun, but she has like CGI teeth and black eyes. And I'm just like, well, I've kind of seen that a bazillion times. Like, do something really grotesque with a fucking nun demon. Like, fucking have mad, like, think of like Henrietta in Evil Dead 2, like with the fucking mad, crazy, wrinkly, floppy tits hanging out and a mad, scary face. And, like, you could really go fucking nuts with like a nun demon, and then what you give me is, a creepy shadow and some CGI teeth. I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, you're not even trying at that point. And it was just a shame. Plus, it was too fucking long. It was like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something. And I'm just like, no fucking horror movie. I don't care what the story. I don't care if it's based in truth or not. I don't care how many fucking tabletops you flip over, or kids you fly on the roof, or old men with dribbling faces you have. Like, nothing can last that long, because at a certain point, Kim and I looked at each other. We're just like, they got to get on with this. This is boring.
Well, that's a big problem with modern movies in general, is that I feel like modern editors have forgotten how to edit. And
not to defend the editors that you're bashing, because I agree with you, but sometimes it's not them. Sometimes
I understand.
You can tell when it's obviously the fucking studio. You can tell when it's obvious the studio or the producer trying to tell them, no, take that out because we had a focus group, or take that out because we're trying to make this PG-13. You can tell, and I fucking hate that.
Right. But even on top of that, though, like, especially with horror films, like, horror films should be 85 minutes long.
Right.
Just a tight run through the fucking story, slam in as much horrific visions of death and destruction as you can, splatter around, copious amounts of blood and gore, and then call it a day and leave the audience wanting more. When you go on for 2.5 fucking hours, it's just like, by the time you're done, everybody's gonna walk out of that theater being like, I never want to see any of these fucking characters ever again.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And especially if the characters are all, especially if you're watching a horror movie and the characters are already shit characters that you don't care about.
Yeah, which they almost always are.
I just kept watching this going, I would really fucking dig a hard 80s version of this story, like with practical special effects and, mad 70s hair and crazy sound effects. Like
Bush.
Mad 70s Bush. And like, with a Raimi or a Carpenter or someone directing, like, I would totally go for this story. It wasn't that there wasn't something there to make a horror movie out of. It's just that nobody involved knew how to make a horror movie. Like, it really was just
I hear that.
disappointing. So anyway, talking about disappointing horror movies,
Nice segue.
Nice segue. Let us move over to the three movies that, I'm really sorry, gentlemen, but I picked for this particular episode. Let me explain myself very quickly.
Yes, explain yourself, John.
Explain yourself, John.
Explain.
So
explain where you just and I said I'm sorry, and I had to say this, John. I was telling myself when I got to the last movie, I think it was Bad Karma, and I wrote it to you. I was like, I hope John was standing up when he pulled all three of these movies out of his ass. I really do.
Yeah, otherwise it would have got really painful. No, I was standing up. No, I forget how it came across my mind, but I was like, oh, Jack the Ripper movies, but like the American take on them. I kind of just, I don't know how that came into my mind, but it did. And I was Googling Jack the Ripper movies. I think it was sort of like, I was looking for like those old, great kind of detective horror films. You know what I mean? Like I was looking for some like detective horror thriller kind of things. And then I was like, well, Jack the Ripper's always great. There's a couple of good ones like Sherlock Holmes and Jack the Ripper, I think, with like Christopher Plummer and James Mason.
And then you're like, David Hasselhoff, we gotta watch that one.
Right. So then I start Googling like Jack the Ripper movies, and the first one I come across was Terror at London Bridge, which has David Hasselhoff in it. And I was like, wait a minute, there's an 80s movie set in Lake Havasu in Arizona with David Hasselhoff fighting Jack the Ripper, who traveled through time in a bridge. This has to be...
in our favorite thing of all time, in a brick.
In a brick. This has to be seen. In a brick. So...
You know what? I saw when I saw the synopsis. I said,
in a brick. All together now. In a brick.
When I saw the synopsis, John, I said, "I'm sorry, the Hoff, Jack Ripper. This can't be good." I mean, well, now I say it, but back then, all right, this will fail, but it would be a good fail, and I would have fun with it.
Right. So that was my. So that was my first.
No, me and Dee need to hash this one out because I really enjoyed this one. Actually, I think we all probably enjoyed the same one the most, but this one, but we all have differing opinions on the other one because I think all of us liked 2 out of the 3, right?
I like this film because it was directed by E.W. Swackhammer. and stars someone called Randy Mantooth.
Randolph Mantooth.
I had to look that person up, and I'm shocked as hell that person is actually still acting today. He's a character actor. Who fucking knew?
Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
Take mother Dorothy Mantooth out for a nice fish dinner, and I will never call her again. But I love this. I actually really, really loved Terror at London Bridge. Like I even recorded a segment of the movie and posted it to my Facebook. That is, it's the greatest cinematic transition of all time. So just a little backstory. Hasselhoff is a cop with a troubled past.
A cop from the dark streets of Chicago.
He's a cop on the edge. Yeah. But yeah, so apparently he accidentally murders some 14-year-old kid with a sharpened fucking can opener that he thought was a gun. And he has this really, really intense emotional scene with the female lead of the film, whose name I don't fucking remember. Not
Kramer.
Is that Stephanie Graham? Yeah.
That's Stephanie
Kramer. Kramer, whatever her name is. And
you can crammer if you like. Crammer as much as you like.
And he's like crying, like he's straight up like crying to her. It's like he was only 14, and it's some of the best acting in the movie, which is not saying much because it's a fucking terror. There's no good acting in this movie except for Adrienne Barbeau.
Well, she's only good acting because you're looking at her going, Adrian, how are you acting wearing those dresses? I mean, they had put her in the worst fucking clothes imaginable. I mean, she's
wearing librarian frocks the whole time. It's fucking ridiculous.
I don't know what salvation.
Wait, hold on. Before I get cut off, I gotta finish the transition. Okay. I have to finish this. Okay. So he's crying to her, and then immediately it smash cuts to this dance party scene, and like, now I didn't show the whole thing because just the smash cut to the dance party is enough, but it pans across and then it's like the two of them stepping away from the dance party. He's like, man, you really cheered me up.
Okay. So
it was like the director was like, okay, you know what, David, you're doing too much fucking acting. We gotta speak this.
All right, everybody dance.
Everybody fucking dance now.
Everybody dance now. So let's back it up. That is one of the greatest moments in the movie. But let's back it up. So first of all, the names in this movie are incredible. We've already said like E.W. Swackhammer and Randolph Mantooth, but you also have Clu Gulager, which is has a fantastic name of Return of the Living Dead fame, of course. You've got
yes, it does.
Ken Swofford, which is phenomenal name. David Fox Brenton. I mean, Barbara Bingham. Like, there's so many great, like, mad names in this movie.
David Fox Brenton is one of the most British names I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, exactly. And he plays Mr. Latting. And Rose Marie, who has a normal name, plays an Alma Belcock. So, like, even if you don't have a silly name in reality, don't worry, the writer's given you a silly name. That's how this movie works.
It's the ZZ Top principle, you know, like you're either named beard, you either have a beard or your name is Beard.
Right, exactly. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, like we've said, Jack the Ripper has escaped to Arizona present day in a brick, which makes no sense. But apparently when a clumsy tourist, pricks her finger or something? Like, I don't even know how she pricked her finger. Like, I don't know where that came from.
I think she fell forward and her palm was bleeding or some bullshit.
That's one sharp brick.
So her blood drips on the brick. Her blood then expands to cover the brick, and then Jack the Ripper literally inflates from the brick, which is just...
Hey, Mo, you and I watch our fair share of anime.
Sure.
And even I said, what the fuck was that? Really? I got a question. See, it was bad enough. It's bad enough when you look at Child's Play, and for whatever reason, Chucky always is attached to the doll for whatever stupid reason they say. And it's like, okay, fine, that's stupid. How did that work? At least there's like some magic there. When did Jack the Ripper say, like, I don't know, Kali Ma, and went into the brick? None of that happened. Like, none of that shit happened, and all of a sudden...
No. Yeah, there's no explanation to it at all.
I was in the library watching it, and once again, I do my trademark getting loud when I see a movie. Fuck was that? And like two people beside me was trying to look at what I was watching.
Did I just see a man inflate out of a brick? I don't even know. Like,
that's the best way to describe it. Inflate. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. It's totally mad. And it was. I have to say, like, of the three of them, this one I far enjoyed the most. Like, I just enjoyed watching this one the most because it didn't. I wanted, like, David Hasselhoff in his 80s prime with his shirt unbuttoned to the navel, trying desperately to act and say dialogue with his ridiculous hair and his stupidity. And I got all of that and more versus Jack the Ripper. Now, is it a good movie? No, of course it's not a good movie on any level at all. But it was, of the three that we watched, it was the one that I had the least problem enjoying, if that makes any sense.
I don't know. I didn't like it at all. There were parts in there, of course, the smash cut. And there were some moments in there where it was, okay. But what I always say is if I'm watching a bad movie and I know it's a bad movie and I'm trying to enjoy myself and I fall asleep, that's why I don't like it. And unfortunately, I fell asleep watching this movie. And I did hate myself for it, but at the same time, it was like, well, I didn't enjoy it, so I can't get too mad.
This isn't the one that I enjoyed the most. I enjoyed the one we're about to talk about next the most. But this is the one that's the most consistently entertaining through the whole movie. Because, like, how did you? I'm sure you guys didn't know, and now we all do, that Lake Havasu has a horror museum that has a meat locker attached to it.
Right.
You know what? That was an interesting.
Yeah. We all needed to know that, Mo, and now we do.
We do.
But no, it was what I loved most about this was all the, like, it was someone came to the writer William F. Nolan and went, here's some fucking whacked out idea for a TV movie. Write this, will you? And what he did was he threw every single cliche from every single genre that he could possibly find. And let's not forget, like, this is the guy who wrote, like, Logan's Run and Trilogy of Terror. Like, he's written some good stuff, right?
He's written good shit, yeah.
So, but what he did was he went, okay, I'm going to basically throw all the fucking cliches in here. So I really enjoyed that. Like, I really enjoyed that, like, Hasselhoff was playing, you know, this cop from the rough street of Chicago that has, like, a dark past where he killed a kid and he came to Lake Havasu and now he's hunting down Jack the Ripper and he falls in love with the local girl who owns a boat and da-da-da-da-da. Like, there was all this stuff, like... And what was... Oh, by the way, on the point of him falling in love with the woman who, by the way, totally should have been swapped roles-wise with Adrienne Barbeau. Like, I can only assume the reason why Adrienne Barbeau is killed so early, and that's not a spoiler because it's on the fucking back of the VHS case for anyone who Googles this.
No fucking bullshit.
But like the only reason I can imagine Barbeau dies early in this film is because once she got to making it, she was like, I'm going to take this other character that dies early because get me off this fucking shit as fast as I can. Especially once she saw her wardrobe with the fucking Little House on the Prairie fucking shoulder poofs and it was ridiculous what she was wearing, but she would have been so much better as the main character because Stephanie Kramer was as bland as all get out. But what I want to ask the women listening, there are no women listening, but what I want to ask the fictitious women listening is, on their first date, Hasselhoff lies about having grown up fishing, right? Because he goes out on her boat with her to fish.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Knows nothing about fishing whatsoever. So on the first date, he lies flat out to her. And on the second date, admits that he is such a bad policeman, he can't tell the difference between a gun and a can opener. And because of that idiocy, he shot a child and killed him. So on the first day, he's lied flat out to you about something he really doesn't need to lie to you about. And on the second day, he's admitted to homicide of a child. Why have you not run in the opposite direction? Like,
well, you know what that means. But you know what that means, though.
Right there.
But you know what that means, though, is if that's the first date and that's the second date, then obviously there's going to be sex on the third.
Right, of course. It can only...
You have to think about it. If you survive those 2 dates with this man lying to me, and then the second time he has murdered a child. So for the third date, you have heard the worst. At this point, how big your dick is. That's the only thing you have to
on the third date, which isn't really a date, he shows up at your house in the middle of the night and tells you because he went to a library, he believes not a Jack the Ripper copycat, but the Jack the Ripper from 1888 is back in Lake Havasu killing people for real. And he tells you this at 2 a.m, sweating profusely with goggly Hasselhoff eyes. At that point, you'd have the dude locked up. You're like, wait a minute, you're a killer, you're a liar, and now you believe that Jack the Ripper is back to get you. Yeah, let's lock this guy and his fucking velveteen pants
right there
in a fucking meat
right there.
locker.
That's what you go to as captain. Captain, I got a question. Have you did a psych evaluation on this motherfucker? For real. This has to, they're tied up in the basement of his house. There has to. You know what actually just hits me, John? It just hits me. There's a reason why I kind of scoffed at the movie early. There's a bit of a Jaws type of subplot they got going on. We can't stop this. We were like where the mayor comes in and says, we can't cancel this day. Like, really? Did all movies in the 70s and 80s fall back on the mayor being selfish? Did we always do that?
Yeah, so this is that's my other point, D, right? Like, the writer has just crammed every fucking cliche he can find into this movie. So Lake Havasu and has London Bridge on it, which is true, right? Like, the London Bridge was shipped over to one of the lakes in, like, the southern Arizona or southern California, somewhere down there. I don't know if it's Havasu itself, but, like, it's definitely down there somewhere. They're having a reopening ceremony because they found this lost brick. So it's the last missing brick, right?
It's the last brick.
And they've sent it's such an important brick. They've sent someone from San Francisco to cover it. You can imagine the front page of the San Francisco Chronicle be like, "Fuck who Zodiac is. Did you find out they got a brick back from the Thames?" Like, what the fuck?
They found a brick at the bottom of the Thames.
We've yet to find Zodiac, but don't worry, everybody. We found the brick. So
Everybody,
anyway.
everybody, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. There's this AIDS epidemic going on in San Francisco right now. But there's a fucking brick that we found. These motherfuckers found. These motherfuckers found a brick. Don, listen to me. Don, you have to listen. Look at what I wrote. Holy shit! Front page now.
Brick found. So anyway,
that's the headline. Brick found.
Brick found. Look, you say brick found. You see one of the minor stories underneath. 50 people burned up in a car crash. Good Lord!
But anyway. I do want to mention one of the other.
Let me just finish the train of thought about the mayor and everything. So. They're having this rededication ceremony or whatever for the bridge. Everyone's come down. It's tourists. And on the first night, one of the tourists is there. They get killed by Jack the Ripper because, like we say, they bring Jack the Ripper back to life with their finger blood. Because brick. So that happens. And then all the way through the movie, you were saying about like the chief and saying to the chief and stuff, which is played by Clu Gulager. The hilarious thing about it is that Hasselhoff does no detective work, has a history of shooting children, and the mayor and the mayor's office, the politician guy, Lane Smith, the guy from the office is Lane Smith, and Lane Smith keeps saying, like, you're fired, we're taking away your badge, we're taking away your gun, everything you're doing is wrong, like, blah, 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 you've got nothing to show me, fuck you. And he's the shouty one. And then Clu Gulager as the chief, even though the chief does not outrank the mayor in any way at all, keeps going, I'll give you another chance, Hasselhoff. Oh, you think the real Jack the Ripper is doing it? All right, follow that lead up then. Like, he keeps getting chance after chance after chance, even though anyone else in their right mind would be like, take your perm and take your tight jeans and fuck off.
You know what? I gotta say it. I have to say it, man. This white privilege is fucking killing me, man. Right. You need to tell me. Let me get this very fucking straight. Let me get this really fucking straight.
The thing is, I think that with Hasselhoff, it's more orange privilege. It's like Trump. It's more orange privilege.
It's more orange privilege. Also, would you say no to that perm? Would you?
No, not really.
No.
So I want to mention real quickly one of my favorite aspects of this movie is that because we were talking about how the writer threw all of these terrible cliches at. Let's talk about the red herring in this movie, which is probably one of the worst red herrings I've ever seen in a movie ever. You know, so you get this.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. This guy
doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about?
This guy, what has he been hunting fucking Jack the Ripper for fucking 300 years now?
Okay, tell me, how does that make any sense? It's like he just shows the fuck up. Just a random British guy in the middle of Arizona just shows the fuck up,
and he's creepy as fuck looking, you know. Like, and they never really explain him ever. He just kind of shows up, creeps everybody the fuck out, is right about everything that's going on, you know. And then like what happens? Like they either capture him or kill him or something, you know. Oh my god! And then meanwhile, you've got this like this hoity-toity little hello, you know, cutesy guy who's obviously like the second they introduce the second British character, I'm like, okay, so the happy-go-lucky, you know, handsome guy, clearly the killer, just fucking clearly, and of course he is.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think that was a twist. Like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that's what they were going for, because I saw the first English dude and was like, well, he's Jack the Ripper. Like, I just...
Oh, so you fell for the red herring then?
No, I saw the pretty blonde one, who, by the way, was the worst...
Yeah, he's fucking terrible.
He was the worst Jack the Ripper of any of these three.
He's the worst one.
Yeah. Even though I still say this is the best film out of the three of them. Like, this is the only one that I would watch again.
Oh, my gosh.
I'd watch this.
And that's what you call white privilege, D.
All right. Got me there. We like it, D. What are you?
Because D, I'm like, I will watch this again, and there's nothing you can do about it. Privilege. Right. So...
yeah, that's cool about it.
Take all the knees you want. We're watching this again.
No big deal, man. You know, it's just that I didn't enjoy it. I thought I was going to, and on
paper, this should be a movie that any like weirdo film fan should enjoy. But I could definitely understand why somebody wouldn't. I mean, it's a piece of shit. I mean, really.
And D, I have totally had that experience where people have either sung the praises of a movie or said, "Oh, I had the best time watching this bad movie," or whatever it is. Like, I've had plenty of people say that, and then I've sat down to watch it and gone, "I have no idea what these people are talking about. This is a piece of shit." So,
yeah, John,
I
but
totally get that.
In fairness, John, that is because you're a contrarian dick.
Hey, see, Mo was going to say that shit. I wasn't going to respond to this. I respect you, John. I respect you. He would say that, not me.
I only say it because I love you.
Exactly. I only say it with love on the surface and deep-rooted hatred and jealousy in my cold, dark heart. So, Dee, did you have anything to say? I think Mo and I both kind of like enjoyed it for its own kind of goofy sense. And I would also say that I thought, weirdly, for a TV movie, it was kind of nicely gory. Like, it wasn't super gory or anything, but, like, you saw throats being slit and, there was the blood on the stone and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Which I was actually surprised by.
Yeah, in that respect, that is kind of surprising, That is surprising. You see that level of violence, especially for, I guess this movie came out, I forgot what year. What year it came out? 80 what?
85.
I don't know what year.
85.
That's pretty graphic for 85, just for a television movie too. At least with the violence they had in there, and yeah, I can appreciate some of the stuff they had in there. I can, but it just bored me. It bored me. By the third time he got to Clu Gulager and told, because we heard David at least 3 times explain because. That's what I knew the movie was in trouble, because he had to explain the whole thing. Like, okay, somehow Jack the Ripper is alive, and nobody fucking believes him for good reason. But still, he had to explain it 3 times. And I was like, oh, son of a bitch, just in.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I'm not going on record as saying, like, this is now my favorite B movie ever or whatever. I just thought that for as flimsy a premise as it was, it delivered enough things for me that I was like, oh, okay. But I totally understand how if I was in a completely different mood when I sat down to watch this, or if, like, this caught me on a day when, like, I wasn't necessarily concentrating on it, whatever it is like that, or just in general, if I just didn't enjoy it because I found it boring or whatever, I totally understand, like, people getting that from it as well. I don't necessarily want people to listen to this podcast, run away, find this movie, watch it, and go, what is John talking about? This is bullshit. Like, don't watch it. Like, you don't have to watch it. But
I want everyone to watch this.
Yeah, Mo wants everyone to watch it, and I think everyone is probably going to get what D got out of it way more than what I got out of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I still want everybody to watch it.
Right. And you can watch now for $4.99 on Amazon Video, or just ask Mo, D, and me, and we'll send you a copy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you do watch it on Amazon Video, don't forget to click through the banner on the aftermoviediner.com, because then every time someone watches Terror at London Bridge, I'll get a cent. So that'll be good. But if Dee has nothing else to say on the matter, let us move on to Edge of Sanity.
Oh my gosh. If the last one was boring to me, this one was just ultimate batshit crazy, and it almost got me kicked out the library because there were tits involved.
I love that you watch these movies in a library. Like, I can't tell you how much I love that you did that.
Well, because my laptop has zapped out on me. I have no fucking choice. So,
right.
So I had to watch the movie somewhere.
No, but it's just so funny that you were watching, like, Edge of Sanity. Like, Terror at London Bridge, all right. But, like, Edge of Sanity, from the beginning to the end, is filled with just mad, mid-80s, Anthony Perkins, like, brightly lit sleaze. I mean, just sleaze from start to finish.
Yeah.
It is. This was a really, really, you know what, if the first movie was like, okay, well, that's kind of riffable. It's really something you would see on MST3K. This one comes on. Well, is a movie that comes on like twice on like Cinemax.
On Skinemax, yeah. This is a total Skinemax film. Yeah,
it's almost Skinemax, really, and then all of a sudden you have Anthony Perkins.
There is a scene where a woman gets masturbated with a cane. This is Skinemax.
No. But here's the sick part. You have the fucking gall to have it be Anthony Perkins, and I have to, and as weird and as sick as it was, here's me. No, Anthony Perkins is actually acting circles around of what I really thought he was going to do.
Yes, no, he's fantastic in it. He's absolutely fantastic. Like I think he was so method in doing this film that he was actually smoking crack.
Right. Oh yeah, he had to be. He had to be, because I thought at least twice, like, okay, Anthony Perkins really did kill a hooker. He did at least one. God forbid it was a woman.
He has done so many movies where he kills transients and hookers and stuff that I guarantee you in real life he has killed more than one.
Yeah. He is definitely, just from his method acting alone. And what's also funny is, like, I understand, like, how Anthony Perkins got his name and in movies through Psycho and da-da-da-da-da and all the rest of it. But, like, at a certain point in the 80s, he just goes, well, I'm going to do Psycho 2, then I'm going to do Crimes of Passion, which is where he plays, like, a incredibly sexually repressed priest around, like, hookers and stuff, where he, like, fondles a lot of vibrators and goes mad. Like, it's a completely weird fucking movie. And then...
that movie, I never got to see it.
Psycho 3, like, doesn't actually I forget, but doesn't he actually kill someone with a vibrator in Crimes of Passion? Like, isn't it like
it has been way too long since I've seen that. I can't answer that.
I have a feeling, and I forget whether I'm right in this or whether it's just some mad Ken Russell bullshit in the movie, but I've got a feeling that I remember him with, like, this metal vibrator covered in blood, like, sweating and cursing. Maybe I'm completely, I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in like fucking 15 years, but
but still, the fact that you said that Anthony Perkins killed somebody with a vibrator.
Yeah. No, but this is what I'm trying to say.
I woke this morning with a whole lot of thoughts in my mind, like, I wonder what I'm going to hear when I get on that podcast later on tonight. Killing someone I did not see coming.
So what's incredible is through the 80s he does Crimes of Passion, which I just mentioned. He does Psycho 3, which obviously has like a lot of like psychosexual sleaziness and weirdness and death and whatever in it. Like there's a lot of like.
Oh wait, hold on. Here you go. I got to cut you off for a second. Crimes of Passion. Stabbed in the back by a razor-tipped dildo / vibrator. So yes, there is absolutely a vibrator death scene in Crimes of Passion.
Now I have to watch it. Now I have.
Actually, if you look it up, that scene is presumably, I can't click on it because we're recording, but presumably that scene is on YouTube. So
yeah, no, I would definitely check it. They just did a Blu-ray of Crimes of Passion, I think.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. So he does Crimes of Passion, which is all like psychosexual nonsense with priests and things like that. Then he does Psycho 3, which is like has a lot of like Norman Bates trying to find love again, but really it's like weird and sleazy and sexual and killing people. Then he does Destroyer, which I can't remember his role in Destroyer. Is there any like sleazy psychosexual stuff in Destroyer? Possibly, right?
I've never seen it.
I don't know. Okay. But I think he plays, probably yet again, he probably plays like a kindly old guy who really molests and kills people. I'm just going to assume, I don't know. And then Edge of Sanity, he plays, even as Dr. Henry Jekyll, because it's a Jekyll and Hyde story, but quite cleverly, I thought, they went like, well, when he's Mr. Hyde, how about he's Jack the Ripper? So he becomes like Jack the Ripper Hyde, which is actually kind of like a cool idea. The problem I have with this movie is they do absolutely fucking nothing with that, other than like
nothing with it. Thank you.
They do nothing with any of it.
And it's funny. this is not the first time I actually heard somebody had that same setup of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where Hyde was actually was Jack the Ripper. That's not the first time I heard this. So people have done that in their own type of fan fiction themselves, and I think it's several books they have done the same thing too. So right. I was really actually like, okay, I kind of like this. Where are we going to go? They went nowhere with it.
Well, they went nowhere. They didn't examine, because very, very quickly for people who care, and I would strongly suggest that you don't care, because of all the movies, weirdly, that we watched, although this was by far the best made, had the best score in it, and had the best tits in it, all the rest of it, this was the film that I actually had the biggest problem with, in terms of, it not being what I hoped it would be. Everything
this is my
else,
favorite.
everything else, the bridge one was completely adequate for what I was expecting from it, and Hell's Gate / Bad Karma was kind of worse than I was assuming, but pretty much where I was expecting. This one, on the other hand, I had high hopes for, based on the way it looked, based on the way Anthony Perkins was acting, and based on the plot they'd set up. And it actually really doesn't deliver on any of the things you want it to. It kind of teases you that it's going to, and then never actually does. But essentially the plot is this. He's Dr. Henry Jekyll. He's doing some work with anesthetics and anesthesia and stuff like that. And one night with his monkey, has an accident. He's playing with his monkey.
Do people go to...
Yeah. While his wife is upstairs, Anthony Perkins goes to his laboratory or man cave, plays with his monkey, has an accident where lots of white substance blows everywhere, and then he becomes a mad rapist hooker killer.
So this is an allegory about masturbation, then?
Yeah. Well, not a rapist. He's not a rapist. Sorry, he's a sexually repressed molester and killer, because he doesn't actually ever have sex with the people, and that's kind of the problem. And the setup for the fact that he is so sexually repressed is that when he was a kid, he was spying on two people having sex in a barn, while one woman cannot fucking stop laughing, which just drives me absolutely through the wall. The movie. And when he accidentally falls down from the top of the barn and is hanging by a rope, the guy stops having sex with a woman and then beats him, beats the kid.
He spanks him.
Spanks him repeatedly, which is kind of weird and obscene, and the girl's laughing, and then it cuts to a dream sequence where the girl has blood all over her face and he's being spanked and da-da-da-da-da. And it's just constant debauchery, and then he wakes up as a doctor and off he goes. And anyway, the anesthesia turns him into Jack the Ripper Hyde. He goes throughout whorehouses of London, killing prostitutes. And that's it. They don't examine the sexual repression kind of thing at all. They don't examine the whole being addicted to the drug thing and, the two halves of him trying to, get him off the drug or keep him on the drug or anything like that. There's some thing in the middle of the movie where apparently he runs out of the drug, but he turns into Jack Hyde anyway. So, now you're meant to think, well, okay, he can never stop doing this. There's sort of some stuff about him and his wife that actually goes nowhere. And then the movie ends, and literally nothing has been either examined or resolved. So, although it has some interesting visuals, and although it's full of just, sleazy crap, it never really delivers on the deaths the way I wanted to. It never really delivered on the sleaze quite the way I wanted to. And then it ends and nothing happens. So that's how I was kind of disappointed.
So what you're saying is that it is a near-perfect Skinamax film.
Right, exactly.
Oh, my God, he's right. It is like a near-perfect Skinamax film. Nothing's resolved.
Yeah, I got to tell you, as a big fan of those ridiculous late-night Skinamax movies, and I like those movies way more than I should be admitting. This is my favorite of the three. I don't give a shit that nothing is resolved. I don't care that they don't go into anything. I don't care about any of that. It's just pure debauchery, and think about it this way. One of my favorite movies of all time is this movie that's called Just for the Hell of It, that has no fucking plot line whatsoever, and basically just involves a gang of rowdy teens destroying shit for 85 minutes, and it's just set piece destruction, set piece destruction. There's a scene where they put a baby in a trash can. Why? Who cares? It's a baby in a trash can. It's hilarious. It's the entire movie, and this movie reminds me so much of that. Just although this one's a little more focused in that, like, he had, like, there's a plot of sorts, but that's all it is. It's just raunchy scene after raunchy scene after crazy psychosexual nonsense, and it's just, to me, this is, as a fan of those late night Skinamax films, this is a perfect movie.
Well, the director has done others. The director, Gerard Kikoin, has done other stuff like this. Lady Libertine is one of them, which looks like a softcore French effort. And the other one, which hilariously has covered up the nip. Like, they've put a naked woman on the front of the video box, but then covered up the boobs with stars. But, like, on the video box. And that one is called Flesh and Fire and stars Kevin Bernhardt. So if you like this one, Mo, maybe check out...
I feel like I've seen that second one.
Check out... It's either called Fire Under the Skin or it's called Flesh and Fire. And it looks very much in the same cock vein as Edge of Sanity.
Wah, wah.
But I do think... So what you're saying, Mo, is if they change this... if they change the characters to something like Henry Cockle and Jack Off Hyde, and then change the name of the movie to, I don't know, Edge of Labia, you would prefer it more?
No. I think it's perfect the way it is, because the best Skinamax ones are the ones that take it way too seriously.
Right.
And like when you're trying to make a softcore porn parody, they're terrible. Everything about them is fucking awful. I don't particularly hate porn parodies. Sometimes they're hilarious, but I feel like when you take the material super seriously and it's nothing but ridiculous, like, sexual drama and, like, thriller and stuff like that, it just makes the movie that much more enjoyable. And I feel like Edge of Sanity did such a good job with that. While, like you said, and I'm not disagreeing with anything you guys said. This movie goes nowhere. It does nothing, and it accomplishes nothing, but in a perfect way. Honestly, it's a psychosexual Michael Bay film.
It could be the fact that nothing is resolved is why I'm kind of mad. It's not. It isn't that the fact that, at the end of the movie he killed his wife. Big deal. But well, if everything you say is like, well, fucking big deal. We knew that was going to happen. But It's kind of like, okay, that was it. Wait a minute. Why's the credits going? Fuck, you mean that's it? Nothing happened?
Wait. Come back here. There must be more movie. Wait.
Give me 15 more minutes. Give me 15 more minutes. Just resolve something.
I was just really thought like when the police officer left him, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, well, he got away with it. Then just out of nowhere, bam! Scotland Yard, get on the ground. I thought it was gonna be something like that or some bullshit. No. Nothing. Zero.
D, I hate to break it to you. No one in Scotland Yard has ever said Scotland Yard, get on the ground in like such a rough manner. They probably came over and went, excuse me, pardon me, would you put that cup of tea down and possibly come with us?
I'd imagine there'd be a couple of pip-pips in there somewhere.
Yeah. Would you possibly pip put that cup of tea down and come with me? What? Would you mind?
What?
Would you mind awfully if I put handcuffs on you? It's really just for the TV cameras.
It's really just. You know what? There was one.
I'm terribly sorry, but
yeah.
You know what, Bo? Oh, I'm actually ashamed of you because I thought you would actually say the best part of the movie for me. The best part of the movie was actually the first time he turned into Jack the Ripper. Is when he's with the hooker and Abby Perkins bends the girl over down on the table. He rips her. He lifts her skirt up, and he's nose to ass with her.
There's some serious ass worship in this film.
I said to myself, okay. I'm 34 years old, and I get to see Anthony Perkins eat ass. I have lived long enough. And then he stands up like, you son of a bitch, go for it. Go for it.
Just bury the nose right in there. Just do it.
I thought he was. Oh my gosh, I really thought he was, man.
No,
yeah,
see, because that's too graphic for what they were trying to pull off. Although he does masturbate a woman with a cane, so who knows?
Hey man, at least we got something.
Which was
we got plenty.
No, the best thing was like after he killed that woman and the guy came running upstairs to the rooftop where he had like his carrier pigeons or whatever.
Oh, with the candy fop.
The pigeon had some blood on it, and the guy was like, no, like that.
I was like, wait. What was even better about that scene was the fact that not only was Anthony Perkins was using a cane to masturbate, to help the woman masturbate. There was a guy watching through the curtains, like, oh shit. Right.
Yeah,
I was thinking about if the guy that was looking through the window, I was
absolutely expecting him to start. Yeah. I was waiting for that.
They all three of them should have, because Anthony Perkins was masturbating at the same time as well as he was masturbating the woman with the cane. The guy in the window, had he started jerking it as well, like that, you're right, that would have at that point reached a level of like filth and sleaze that I would have actually stood up and applauded. It never quite got there.
I was so ready for it. Like, this movie did it. It crossed the line. Good for you. And it was the 1980s. Holy shit. Yes.
It did a triple wankerama, and yet it didn't. It fell short, and I was very unhappy about that. Also, even though we presume Perkins finishes off, there was no cum shot, and that, for me, is unforgivable. But
that was a problem. That was the whole problem the whole time. Every time he was with
me, not enough cum shots,
not enough ropes of arcing jism.
Come on! It's Anthony Perkins too. If he would have jizzed, it would have been the best acting jizz you have ever seen.
It would have been. It would have been a Shakespearean level cum shot. Absolutely.
It would have done. The cum would have come out in slow motion, and as it arched past the camera, you would have just heard it in like perfect Laurence Olivier, just have gone, to be or not to be, dear boy, just as it like flew past the camera.
Like I said, you would have heard that as the jizz passed the camera. I remember when I was a young sperm, not too long ago.
Now you're making me like the movie more.
I just imagine that now. I'm imagining this puddle of cum on the ground, looking up at the camera and saying, "Hello, good sir." Having a conversation with him.
Oh, it's a bit cold out here. It was much warmer where I was before. But no, like so. It was, to me, like the other problem is that like I've seen some Ken Russell movies, so like this one, which was very kind of can we do Ken Russell but like on a very low budget and not artistic at all. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Ken Russell at all. I think he's a lot of hype and no trousers, but like this particular movie so desperately wanted to be Ken Russell, which is kind of mad because Perkins had just worked with Ken Russell on Crimes of Passion. So it's kind of weird that like he would then go to this movie where this French guy, I presume Gerard Kikoini or someone French of some kind of derivative. In France. You would have thought that like Anthony would have said, look, can we stop trying to do Ken Russell? I just work with Ken Russell. Can we do our own thing? But he didn't. So the other thing I was going to say about Edge of Sanity was that it was one of the few movies that while it attempted to be set in a period, so in other words, like they wore period dress and he rode in a coach and horses and whatever and lived at like 221B Baker Street by the looks of it. What was hilarious about the movie was it couldn't have been more 80s if it tried. Like, it was so fucking 80s. It was ridiculous.
I got a huge kick out of, again, period piece clothing, and then you've got like hookers walking around in neon pink clothes.
And you know, it's interesting. I was going to ask that same question. Like, what was going on with the style? Because it was clearly the 1800s, but then all of a sudden it turned like into mid-80s fashion. I didn't.
Well, you know what it is. It's a lot like when there was that time period where they took all of those silent films from like the 20s and 30s and like set them to like synth rock, music and and painted them over with all these weird neon colors. It's the same idea. Everything's in a period, but still 80s.
But what's crazy about it was that Anthony Hopkins was in period dress and everything at the beginning of the movie as the Doctor. But like when he became Hyde, he essentially became mopey Spider-Man, and he went out and amongst prostitutes who were all dressed like Papa Don't Preach era Madonna. Every single one of them.
He turns into a much less cool Udo Kier.
Yeah, well, no, that's giving him way too much credit. Like there was nowhere near anything as cool and or as sleazy as Udo Kier. Like Udo Kier could sit in a beige suit in a beige room and be more sleazy, more menacing, and more problematic than this movie.
It's true.
Oh my gosh! All they did with I like how when Anthony Perkins, every time he turned to Jekyll, Hyde, it was like all they really did was just like pretty much make him like. I can pretty much tell that Anthony was like, no, I must go into this correct. Someone give me a crack pipe quickly. Like, I can really tell that he stayed up for like 4 days straight smoking opium. And then it's like, you ready for the movie? Yes, I am. Let's go.
I loved like the first time he breaks out that glass pipe and lights it. And I'm like, oh, come on. Is he seriously smoking crack now? Like, he's seriously smoking crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Anthony Perkins must have spent the whole of the 80s bathed in like bright blue, bright pink, and bright green lights. Because like this movie, Crimes of Passion and Psycho 3 are all lit the same way. They're all lit as if the director of photography had just fucking watched an Argento marathon and was like, oh yeah, let's get some pinks and greens up in this mother. Like that's kind of like how all these movies... And then the fucking Dutch angles. There wasn't a shot in this movie that wasn't on a fucking Dutch angle. And it was like... It really made me appreciate... Like, when you see either a Hitchcock or a Raimi or someone do, like, a really good Dutch angle or a really, like, weird shot... It makes me appreciate like just how fucking talented those guys are. Because when you see it done badly, like in this movie, where there's no reason for it, it's just like, oh, let's put it on a slight angle because that'll add like weird menace to it. I don't really understand. Yeah. Like it just brings into glaring relief just how good other movies are and just how bad this one.
You know what? They had a beautiful chance to do something really deep with the character, to really go into how, the sexual oppression and even on to the same level of Hyde acting out on it. It was, and I can't believe I'm saying this also, it's when Anthony Perkins had his hand hovered above a dead girl's ass.
True. That was the only bit in the movie where they even tried to show him wrestling with it, was his hand hovering above a dead ass.
Well, that's big. No, it's not entirely true. Like there is a scene where like the woman has her tits out, and he sort of like backs off from it. But yeah, I mean they very vaguely, a couple of times in the course of the film show that he is struggling with this sexual repression. But see, I don't like any of those scenes. I much prefer the scenes where he's the Ripper, quote unquote, and is just reveling in it.
Yeah, where he's moody Spider-Man dancing with Kirsten Dunst in a
Spider-Man
in an old restaurant.
That's what he is, but that's what he looked like.
And I like how he becoms like a beatnik at the end of the movie, like when the wife finally finds him, and he's I was having like flashbacks of Rick Ocasek and Pia Zadora in fucking, what is it, Hairspray, where Rick Ocasek just puts his head through a fucking painting, like I was getting those kind of vibes, like the way over the top bullshit beatnik nonsense.
Man, you know what? It was so funny. I thought to myself, when he was in the horror house, he started throwing chairs around. I just said, You know what? That's not the first time Anthony Perkins done that inside of a whorehouse. That is not the first time that has happened.
No, and
I'm pretty sure the director said, "Cut." Fuck no, it hasn't cut. Roll it. It just started throwing.
Yeah, it was just like, to me, it wasn't like a parody of Skinamax movies. To me, it was like a parody of Ken Russell films. Like, that's just, to me, like, it was just like, oh yeah, let's have her dress up in a nun's habit and rub her crotch next to a crucifix, because like it just all seemed so like it was like a Pasolini movie or something. Like, they just tried to do, let's do the psychosexual religious thing, and it was all just sort of done like half-assed. Like, and I just, if you're gonna go there, Mo, get like strings of topless nuns fucking gag bagging a horse.
And I agree with you entirely. Like, look, I may love stuff like this, the old Skinamax shit, but it's nothing compared to like old nunsploitation films. I'll take Satanico Pandemonium or fucking Alucarda over this any day. Like, that sort of stuff. I'd much rather watch that. I'd much rather watch fucking Bava films or like Bacchanales. What's that movie called? Like Bacchanales Sexuales or whatever it's called. Like, I love like sleazy Italian bullshit, but
Mo porn. I love sleazy Italian bullshit. That's your byline.
Exactly. When I die, I want that written. I want a list of things I loved written on my tombstone. He loved 80s teen sex romps, the Golden Girls, and Italian sexual bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
See, personally, I thought you were just going to have like a mural to the Golden Girls like right on your tombstone and nothing else.
I want them to paint it on my forehead before they put me in the coffin.
I actually think like it would be the Golden Girls on his tombstone, but all their faces would be replaced. It would look like the Golden Girls. All their faces would be replaced with Klaus Kinski, and then underneath it would just say, "Thank you for being a fiend," and that would be it. Like, that would be my thing to Mo, because that to me would say Euro-psycho-sexual madness,
right,
the Golden Girls, and a Werner Herzog quote, like, all put together. That to me is kind of Mo.
In all fairness, that sums up my movie interests almost in a T.
Right.
Yeah, you kidding me? I'll take Klaus Kinski any fucking day.
Yeah. You'll have to, because no other fucker wanted him.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But in fairness to the movie, for what it was, as a softcore, not parody of Skinamax. This was a Skinamax movie. Just
straight up.
It like maybe not, appearing on Skinamax, but this was a Skinamax movie, and it was done almost to perfection. That's why Edge of Sanity is my favorite of the three, because it's the one that I enjoyed on the basest of levels the most.
It was so batshit crazy. It was my favorite of the three.
Yeah.
It's just because it was just so crazy. I had to say, at least something happened in this one. And not only did something happen, it happened to perfection. So I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah,
I'm glad I watched this.
Yeah, whereas with Terror at London Bridge, that's the movie that I would like to invite people over and watch that again with them, because I'd love to see other people's reactions to this. This is the movie that I would want to just smoke a giant fucking bowl and just enjoy myself,
So, because we didn't do it after the first movie, but let's quickly do it now so that people might be able to get some kind of idea of how we all feel about it, other than our comments. So let's quickly go around. D, out of 5 points for Terror at London Bridge.
On a bad movie scale, it's actually a 3.
Okay, and Mo for Terror at London Bridge.
On a good movie scale, it's a 4. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, see, and this is the funny part. I actually agree entirely with D. This is a bad movie scale 3.
And I would actually have to say that for a TV movie in which Jack the Ripper inflates out of a stone. I give it not a bad movie 3, just a 3. Just a standard. Like, it doesn't...
Sure.
I mean, listen, it's a TV movie about Jack the Ripper coming out of a stone with David Hasselhoff. Everyone knows going in, it's not a good movie. Like, but so I give it a 3. So now we go on to Edge of Sanity. I give it a 2 for style, but that's about it. And D, what do you give it?
Oh, God. This may be top 5 best Skinamax movies I've ever seen. It really is.
Was it this and Lord of the G-Strings?
Oh my gosh! Wait a minute, there's a Lord of the G-Strings.
Yeah, there's a Lord of the G-Strings. Isn't there a Lord of the G-Strings 2 as well?
Yes, there is.
You know what, Mo? This will please you. Me and DJ Sue, we are trying to gather as many Skinamax movies as we can that we watched as kids.
I was going to say, if you were just trying to compile a list, I could definitely help you with that. But I don't know. You know what? We might have to talk to each other because there are at least several movies where, because all of them have the same exact plot. So have the same. Yeah.
Like, well, wait. They work at a modeling agency. Okay, is there a murder subplot? Okay, I already know this movie.
Exactly.
What about the one I remember was a Kira Reed movie called Sex Files that was like a pastiche of the X Files. Only there was an alien spore. There was an alien spore that came to Earth and made everyone horny. Like, that was the plot of the movie.
Yes,
the plot of the movie was horny alien spores. Like, that's what they were going for. And I'm like, I really don't get this, but okay, let's go with it. You know, I'm like 12 or whatever.
It was like that had to be like the first draft to Species, and the guy's like, "Fuck no, throw it away." That's what it felt like it was to me. But this movie, man, I give it 4.5 stars. You have to watch how. You got to watch how crazy this movie is. It is insane. Oh wow, 4.5, yeah.
See, D, it's interesting because, like, obviously you got really bored by the first movie and I kind of enjoyed it, and then the second movie actually made me angry. Like, I actually got angry at this film. Like, I really wanted to enjoy it and I couldn't enjoy it because it made me so angry. So it's interesting that we have different opinions on that one. So Mo, what about Edge of Sanity for you, sir?
Yeah, I'm gonna partially agree with D on this one as well. I'm gonna give it just a straight 4 out of 5. Yeah, I think this is definitely one that if you're into this style of movie, which is, I mean, admittedly, it's very niche, but if you're into this style of movie, I think you'd really enjoy it.
Oh, very niche, very niche.
So, all right then, as we got lots of questions that I want to get to at the end of the show, let's race through Bad Karma because I really don't think there's much to say about this piece of shit.
There's nothing to say about this fucking piece of shit movie.
There's nothing to say about this.
How did the director of The Legend of Hell House, Escape to Witch Mountain, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, and Twins of Evil, and the writer of Hell Comes to Frogtown and Twisted Fate make a movie this fucking awful? Like, how does that happen? Because you could go, oh well, we didn't have a lot of money, but you don't really need a lot of money for what the plot of this story was. Like, the script was fucking abysmal, but essentially, I'm going to boil it down for people who are at all interested. The movie starts with like a almost pleasing. It doesn't quite go there, but it's almost pleasing, ludicrously exploitative and horrendously acted sequence in which a girl comes to change in a gas station bathroom from her school outfit into what looks like it's going to be either like a nightclubbing outfit and or a hooker outfit, because she essentially changes out of her like preppy school clothes into like a leather skirt and then a bra, and then she doesn't get to put on any other clothes before the guy comes in. But it's an incredibly exploitative scene where the guy, the sort of huge hulking greasy gas station attendant, is staring at her through a hole in the wall in the bathroom. The biggest and the cleanest gas station bathroom I've ever seen on the planet. He's looking at her through there. She gets completely naked, so there's bush and breasts and ass and everything in the sequence. And then he comes in and drags her off. ties her to a bed again, completely naked, and he has to continually electrocute her in the most hilariously badly acted naked female electrocution I've ever seen on screen ever. Like they had to they had to cut it up into like 78 shots because clearly they couldn't get one good one of this woman like screaming and vibrating as if she was being electrocuted. So instead you get this weird montage of her just going like and like almost laughing at some points. I'm like, what is this? It's really bad. But he does it in order for her to remember that they used to be someone else in a former life that was sort of part of the Jack the Ripper thing. Like, none of that really makes sense. But, like, he was like, you knew me in a past life. And then he keeps electrocuting her, and suddenly she's, like, back in Jack the Ripper times and goes, oh, I did know you. And then, like, breaks away from the bed, kills him, and runs off. We cut forward years later. She has had plastic surgery to make herself look like the woman she saw in her head that she was in a past life, who was apparently the sort of Jack the Ripper's girlfriend who participated in all the murders along with Jack the Ripper back in the 1800s, and is now in the early 2000s in a mental hospital in Rhode Island, strapped to a bed and played by Patsy Kensit. She is trying to fuck every doctor who comes in the room in order to get away from the mental institution. It's absolutely true. And she also believes one of her doctors or psychiatrists, who she did actually make out with, is actually Jack the Ripper from a former life. It then becomes sort of, I guess, a bit like Cape Fear in that she breaks out of the hospital and then chases...
I'm sorry, a bit?
Yeah.
A bit like Cape Fear?
Well, a bit like Cape Fear in the sense that she chases down her psychiatrist who she believes has wronged her and tries to kill his family. So
I think it's
like
more
Cape
like
Fear.
What About Bob, personally. But
right, it's a bit like it's like a psycho female What About Bob. But it's not like Cape Fear. It's not like Cape Fear in the sense that it's fucking awful. It's like really bad. So she goes to a house where the doctor and his family are living, threatens them all, but doesn't actually end up killing anyone except the babysitter. Everyone wants to fuck the doctor, even the babysitter. Like, there's even a sequence in the car where he drives the babysitter home for no reason whatsoever, and the babysitter's like, my parents are out, we could go into my house and fuck. And I'm like, what is this movie we're watching? Like, if they're going to go into the house and fuck, have them go into the house and fuck. But don't have a long sequence where they both get in the car, drive to the house, sit in the car, she says they could do it, and then he goes, no, I'm sorry, I'm married. Like, don't tease me like that. Just fucking edit that scene out of the movie.
D came up with the greatest nickname for the Doctor character.
Oh yeah,
that
the best.
You know,
and he's
just
so true as well.
It's so true. D, go ahead.
He is not Rob Lowe to a T. It's like if I wanted to, he is dollar store brand Rob Lowe.
Yeah,
and no joke. Early 2000s Patrick Muldoon is absolutely a not Rob Lowe.
He looks like, if you can imagine this hideousness, but Rob Lowe and Jason Patrick had like a night of passion, and then had like a bland beige ass baby. That is Patrick Muldoon.
You know what? We always at Three Black Geeks we came up with this term because there were a bunch of female actresses that came out in the 2000s that we couldn't name who they are. They were either blonde. They were like mostly blonde girls and like, oh, that's her, that's that. No. We just claimed her. That's 90s white girl. That's what we call it. We use it as a blanket statement. So, and that same thing could be said for some of the men. But then you get some of the men who are pretty much clones of other guys. And this guy just so happens to look just like Rob Lowe.
And not only that, but like there are at least 3 90s blonde girls in this movie.
Yes,
like
there
just
is.
generic thing. And what's really frustrating is that one of them is like Amy Locane, who people might not immediately know that name, but she's in like fucking Crybaby and Secretary and like movies that are actually worth fucking watching. And then she's in this piece
I was
of
surprised when I looked her up. I was like, whoa. You're actually an actor. What are you doing here?
In this fucking movie. Like, the other two people in the movie, for people who don't realize, are Patsy Kensit and Patrick Muldoon, who Patsy Kensit inexplicably, off the back of hands down, the worst performance in any Lethal Weapon movie ever. And let's not forget what Joe Pesci does in some of the Lethal Weapon movies. So, hands down, the worst performance in any Lethal Weapon movie ever is Patsy Kensit as the South African secretary in Part 2, right? She is so bad in that movie, right? Off the back of that, has managed to have this, completely bizarre, straight-to-video, wafting through sleazy, bad rip-offs of, A-movies, kind of career. And it's sort of bizarre, because you kind of go, oh, Patsy Kensit did one or two movies. When you look her up, she did tons of this shit. Not just one or two bad movies, she did tons. She has 90 credits.
Yeah, she has 90 credits on IMDb. It's fucking crazy.
It's almost like you gotta think to myself. You gotta think to yourself, you know what? If she can coast on these movies, why can't? Well, I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't say that. That's kind of lowering the standard. But at the same time, it makes me think she has the same agent as Nicolas Cage, because it's I can get you work. I can get you work. All you gotta do is just say yes, okay?
Right? All you have to do is say yes. She stars in so many mad movies.
A lot of them.
She stars in a movie that is a Top Gun ripoff with Dirk Benedict. How the fuck does that even happen?
That's a thing.
Yes.
Boy, that movie's real. That's a real movie.
She stars in a Top Gun ripoff. Because I own, somewhere on VHS back in the UK somewhere, I own it. Because I was like, Dirk Benedict, this is awesome. I'm trying to find it now, what it's called. It's Blue Tornado. It's called Blue Tornado. It came out in 1991. It even has the same fucking Top Gun, logo kind of triangle thing with the red stripes behind it. And it's Dirk Benedict and Patsy Kensit in Blue Tornado.
Yeah, that is a blatant ripoff. I just looked up the cover art. That is a blatant fucking ripoff. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and the summary for that movie, which we totally should have watched instead of this film, is even though Jack the Ripper isn't in it, while experimenting with a new flight maneuver, Colonel Alex Long and Phil encounter a mysterious... Long.
That first line alone, while experimenting with a new flight maneuver.
What I love is Colonel Alex Long and Phil. It doesn't give Phil's full name, just Colonel Alex Long and Phil experimenting with a new flight.
And the best part, who plays Phil? Ted McGinley.
Ted McGinley. Phil becomes transfixed, flies into the light and disappears. Alex barely manages to come back and is in shock. The remains of Phillips's plane are found later. As inquiries are made, Alex suggests that a UFO could have caused the light. This idea is quickly dismissed. Blah, 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 blah. Patsy Kensit, Alex Long, and Phil.
The cast in this movie is fucking insane. I mean, David Warner plays the commander. I mean, come on.
Crap. Now I want to watch the movie.
Now I want to watch Blue Tornado. Why didn't you pick that one up? But no,
the new flight maneuver.
New flight maneuver. I'm like, what? Here's the sad part. Here's the sad part about that new flight maneuver. What did he do? Did he do a triple loop-de-loop? What the fuck? What did he not do?
No. He's got Froggy shouting in his ear, "Do a barrel roll!"
Oh, and by the way, if you were ever in doubt why Patsy Kensit was ever even famous in the first place, even her IMDb photo almost has a nip slip, which just it fucking explains just exactly why she was famous in the first place.
All right, David Warner probably said, "You're a rebel." He said.
He said that. No. But yeah, Patsy Kensit's got to be one of the worst exports of Britain ever. It's like her and who was the other one who was momentarily famous? She was in Elizabeth Hurley, like, who was momentarily famous and then disappeared into the air. Like, two actresses who can't fucking do a single thing right in any movie that they're in whatsoever.
The closest thing Elizabeth Hurley has had to reclaiming her fame is the pictures she's posting on Instagram right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, okay. But, like, I mean, so Patsy Kensit is in this movie. It's about, again, kind of a time-traveling Jack the Ripper thing, or like a kind of reincarnation Jack the Ripper thing.
Look,
but it's...
Hey, John, put it this way. It ain't Jack the Ripper coming out of a fucking stone.
Get it right. It's a brick.
It's a brick.
A brick. I'm sorry, a brick, sir. You're right.
D, are you honestly telling me that because it's not Jack the Ripper coming out of a brick, that you preferred Bad Karma to London Bridge?
No, I did not. No. Here's the funny thing.
Because you would have to be insane to like this more than London Bridge.
No, you know what? Only reason why I liked it is because it did everything I wanted to do. Because I knew how stupid it was. So, Mo, you look, both of y'all can relate to this. Have you ever got to a movie where it was doing every stupid thing you thought of? You said, okay, so you leave the island and she goes toward your family. Thank you. Okay, she kills the guy on the boat. Thank you. Okay.
But it was full of like mad shit.
Everything.
Like, she impersonates a policewoman. She gets in the car with the police guy. Within 30 seconds, she's like, "You like me, don't you?" And he's like, "Oh, I more than like you." And I'm like, how? Like, why?
How?
Like, where is that coming from? And yet, it's exactly the same as, like, in that last movie. No, it's exactly the same, sorry, as how everyone in this movie wants to fuck the doctor. Like, even I imagine his daughter, even though she was, like, not of age, I imagine even she was looking doe-eyed at Patrick Muldoon or whatever the fuck his name is. Like, it was so... Oh, everything in this movie was bad. Like, there was not even, like, it wasn't even fun bad. Like, it wasn't even inflatable Jack the Ripper bad. Like, there was nothing. I thought the opening sequence with, like, the full nudity and then the bizarre electrocution that, by the way, would not work in any way whatsoever, because that's not how electricity works. But anyway, let's just go with that. That whole opening sequence, I thought, well, okay, at least it's going to be some sort of low-budget sleaze that I can get behind. But there wasn't even, like, after that opening sequence, there wasn't even that.
It wasn't none of that. And what made it worse to me was that everybody was stupid.
Everybody was stupid.
Yeah. Including us for watching it.
Oh, completely for us for watching it. Yeah. And what was all that bullshit about? Like, I'm gonna divorce you because you never spend any time with us because you're always at the mental institution. I'm like, why are you trying to throw like a soap opera subplot into this movie? Get with the killing of the tits already.
She was like, we're leaving you if you go back to your job. I was like, okay, you're really not going to pull this in the middle of you are not going to do this.
But you know it is really funny when he does finally quit his job and, like, mentions how he's unemployed like 40 times.
40 times. Like, as if any of us give a shit.
Yeah, like who cares?
Well, I guess I'm unemployed now. I guess I
better learn guitar again.
And what was all that business about? She burns, in the past, we see a flashback, she burns Jack the Ripper alive because she believes him to be cheating on her. And then later on, in modern day, she says, "Oh, I know you weren't cheating on me. I knew it was the photograph of your sister." And then he goes, "No, actually, I was cheating on you." And I'm like, who cares about any of this? Like, where did any of this come from?
But the best part about that scene was where he inexplicably, I should say, develops a horrible British accent.
Right, out of nowhere, he's suddenly fucking
he fucking
chimney sweep.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's fucking Dick Van Dyke, Mary Poppins chimney sweeper.
Yeah, he's actually worse than Dick Van Dyke. He's like he's like if Dick Van Dyke's son Barry Van Dyke starred in a remake of Mary Poppins.
Hello, like what the fuck?
Oh my god. I was seriously expecting some Cockney rhyming slang to come out of him.
The only thing I have to add on is that it could have been me, or I had to really listen. I had to rewind every time he spoke, but this had to be some of the worst ADR.
Because the ADR was so fucking terrible. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Because the police, who was it? The police, the policeman in the story, he sounded like a voice. The policeman and the head psychiatrist both had the same voice actor, and I'm pretty sure I know who the voice actor is.
No, he's not wrong. They absolutely did. It's the same voice.
I think it's the same voice actor. I want to say that's Stephen Blum, but I was like, no, there's no way in the world he would do a movie like this. Even by dub standards, he would not do this movie.
Do you know why it was dubbed so bad? Is that it was set in Rhode Island, but it was actually filmed in Ireland. So, and you actually heard like one of the cops who was trying to do an American accent clearly had he was like talking like that and occasionally trying to be American, but then hello, I'm a little leprechaun. Like it was going in between the two accents quite wildly. And then others who clearly couldn't do an American accent at all were dubbed by the most boring sounding American voice actor on the planet ever. Like Jeff Dahl did the voiceover.
I was about to say, could it be him? Like, I knew it could have been him. I was like, wow, this guy sounds too bored to be the person I think it is, man. But wow, I hated that so. And I think it
would have been more interesting if Steve Wright had done the voiceover. Like that's how bad it was.
I think Mo mentioned it. Mo said it reminded him of a Neil Breen movie. I was like, whoa, no, it's not as bad as a Neil Breen movie. But here's the best part about that. It had better dubbing it had worse dubbing than a Neil Breen movie.
No.
The ADR in a Neil Breen movie is way better than this.
Absolutely. I would watch every Neil Breen film again before I even watched this.
Oh my gosh.
Contemplated watching this again. I literally have nothing else to say about this movie. The movie has two good scenes. The scene at the beginning with the tits and electrocution because it's hilarious, and the scene where Patrick Muldoon all of a sudden develops a British accent. Yeah. And that's really it.
Yeah, and all I wanted him to say was, "God blimey, Mary Poppins."
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was an absolute piece of shit movie. And again, like, what I tried to do, because I hadn't seen any of these films, the only one I'd even heard of in the lead up to this was Edge of Sanity, which I'd at least heard of, because it got a Blu-ray release. But, like, I wasn't aware of any of these other movies. What I tried to do was I tried to look up Jack the Ripper movies that were made with, like, by Americans, with, like, an American take on Jack the Ripper. And I tried to find movies that were, like, completely weird and like had an interesting take on the Jack the Ripper thing, and
congratulations! Well, fucking congratulations!
But they all have. One is Jack the Ripper inflates himself from a brick. The second one, Jack the Ripper is also Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and in the third one, it's like reincarnated flashback Ripper. So like at least my intentions were good. Like, at least they all had interesting premises. The fact that none of them did anything with that premise is not my fault.
I was actually surprised when I mentioned that I was watching Terror at London Bridge, how many people had commented on that, saying that they had been wanting to see this. So, I mean, of the three that I watched, that's the one that the most of my friends, who admittedly all have very weird taste in movies, have had the most interest in watching.
Who knows? I might have somehow magically tapped into a very early strain of the zeitgeist that's suddenly going to bring this movie back from the dead. I don't know.
I would actually love to do screenings of Terror at London Bridge, because I think big audiences of people who are in the know would have a blast watching this movie on a.
Yes, they would.
I mean, Hasselhoff's performance. Of all Hasselhoff performances before he tried to become a self-parody, and still failed at that. Of all his earnest performances, where he genuinely thinks he's doing good work, but he's doing absolutely horrendously bad work, this is like this blew my mind how like ridiculous he's being in this movie.
Right.
And it was kind of a joy. So let us wrap up. Thanks ever so much, fellas, first of all, for watching those films. I can't thank you enough. I know they were a slog to get through, but I think we pulled it out and made it an enjoyable conversation and a funny conversation.
Honestly, I only felt that Bad Karma was the slog. I thought the rest, the only one that I complained about watching was Bad Karma. The other two I really enjoyed, so I had no problem watching.
Bad Karma was only 85 minutes long, and I fell asleep through 20 minutes of it. I had to rewind and watch 20 minutes of, like, I was actually like watching it through, like you might flip through a book, like speed reading or whatever, speed watching it. And I was like, oh, really? So nothing happened in that 20 minutes I missed then? Because like I woke up later, I was like, I know exactly what's going on. It ended, and then I went back to watch the middle 20 minutes. I was like, yeah, fuck all happened. She just showed up on the island. Nothing happened. Like nobody cares.
I will admit, if I did see Terry at London Bridge with probably like a friend, and we're just sitting there, just like taking shots at it, it would have been, I would have probably had a whole lot of a lot more fun with it. I will admit that. And when it came to Bad Karma, yeah, I totally zoned out. I would think I was like doing other stuff on the computer. I wasn't even looking at the movie.
It was just so bizarre how the beginning was so R-rated, and then the rest of the movie was so vanilla. Like it completely was.
It was amazing how dull it was, and also I failed to mention the turn of the 2000s. Terrible rock music that was in it. Oh, gosh,
I also have to say thanks, D, because you did sit through 3 movies, which now that I think about it, were all white casts. I can't think of one single brother in any of those movies at all.
Here's the funny thing about that, John. I'm so
John, that's your white guilt talking.
That's your white guilt
I'm suddenly thinking about these movies, and I'm like, there literally was no black actors in any of these films.
No black people at all. Because first off, in Bad Karma, if there was at least one black person in there, all right, you better lock up that crazy bitch now. Everybody, there would have been somebody saying something. But anyway, I don't care. I've seen the whitest of the movies. It doesn't matter to me.
I know. I was just really making the joke just because I suddenly was sat there going, was there even a character?
Not even. You know what? I thought for 2 seconds the first hooker that was in I thought she was like mixed. Like she was like, half black, half white maybe, but it didn't even matter to me.
It was just funny. But yeah, so let's answer up some questions very quickly. So my co-host Jim Wallace asks, who's the best Jack the Ripper out of these 3 movies, and who would you ultimately cast as Jack the Ripper in a movie you were making if you could? So Mo, do you want to go ahead with that first question?
Well, I made a joke on his comment where I said, the remakes are all right, but I prefer the original. I don't know. As far as casting it, I don't know. Pauly Shore, maybe.
Pauly Shore, but no, the best Jack the Ripper out of these 3 movies, we all agree, right, is Perkins, right? He's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Clearly,
that's not even a question.
That's not even a question. And who would I cast as Jack the Ripper if I could?
Yahoo Serious?
Tim Roth.
Tim Roth as Jack the Ripper would actually be really, really good.
Yeah.
You know what?
Tim Roth as Jack the Ripper and Gary Oldman as Sergeant Abilene. And I would flip it because you would expect Oldman to play the bad guy and Roth to play the detective. I would flip it. I'd have Roth as Ripper and Oldman as Abilene. That would be my ultimate Jack the Ripper movie.
I think if I was answering the question seriously, I think, I would go super sleazy with it though.
Of course you would.
and obviously, and go really American with it too. So I think the perfect combination of Ripper and the detective who's going after him, and I don't care which one plays which because both would do a fantastic job. Tom Sizemore. As either, I don't care who, as long as he says motherfucker at least once.
Right.
And in the other role, Michael Madsen.
Nice. And just for my friend Jim, because I know he would love this idea, but if you were going to do more of a big budget American kind of like style glossy Jack the Ripper, Sam Neill as Jack the Ripper. Just putting it out there. D, what would your choice be, man?
Man, there's so many. I would. It would matter. It would matter what type of tone we have. If it's going to be like serious and all that, I would actually have to sit down. or actually go through a whole lot of British actors, because I'm one of those people. If we're going to do it, let's do it right. Like, let's get it down to the time and all that. I wouldn't really know. I wouldn't know. I would get somebody that you would not expect. Actually, if anything, I would probably redo Edge of Sanity and in so many words, do it right. And
they did it right, D.
The trouble is, D, is nowadays they would cast like fucking Ryan Gosling or Tom Hardy or some fucking asshole.
No. See, that's the problem.
If they made it now.
Because I like Tom Hardy, and that would be the first person to say, I'm like, no.
Tom Hardy plays Jack the Ripper and the detective.
Adam Driver is Jack the Dripper because he's so fucking wet.
That's pretty funny.
Sorry. Carry on, D. What do you say?
I wouldn't know. Actually, I'm being honest. I really don't know who I would pick to be Jack the Ripper. But I would, if anything, I would redo Edge of Sanity. I would redo it, just do different stuff, man, I wouldn't know. I don't know because
Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire. He's already done it. Tobey Maguire already did it in Spider-Man 3. So just cast Tobey Maguire again. I think he'll grow into the role.
The one problem I do have with it when I pick an actor is like, no, he's too pretty.
Benedict Cumberbatch is.
He can't act.
They'd so cast Cumberbatch in this fucking movie.
Do that.
Oh,
and you know what?
Drippy, pale bastard.
They would do it, and I will say no, please, God, no, please, don't do it, do it.
I'd rather they cast fucking Simon Pegg than fucking Benedict Cumberbatch. Anyway,
Simon might do it right.
Moving on to Mark McDonald's question: do you prefer fictionalized accounts like these movies, or attempts at a more historically accurate portrayal of figures like the Ripper?
You have to make it fictional. You have to make it fictional,
like serial killer films. So. Like, he likes Zodiac and stuff, but like, which I love Zodiac as well, but I don't really watch Zodiac as... No, I mean, I suppose it is factual, but it's also pretty fictional as well, I think, the interpretation.
No, you have to make it as fictional as possible. I don't think authenticity would. Oh,
I got it, guys.
Better. Danny
Trejo is...
I got scared. I really thought you were going to say Danny DeVito. I really thought you were going to say Danny DeVito.
Danny Trejo being stalked by Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito is the detective, and Danny Trejo is the...
Danny Trejo is a hooker. Like, he's coming after it, man.
In a hot pink fucking ballerina outfit.
And he's all like, ooh la la. Would you like a good time?
I would pay all the money in the world to see that.
And Danny Trejo as the hooker in...
Danny ain't saying no to shit anymore.
So you're saying the weirder and the wilder and the more fictional, the better for you, D?
Me personally, yeah. The more weirder, and that's what I liked about Edge of Sanity so much, that it was like, you know what? We're gonna do Jack the Ripper, but fuck it. Let's throw in Jekyll and Hyde in there, and also, hey, take this cane, put it on that girl's pussy. Let's see where we go with this.
Let's see if we can't get really weird. Weirdly enough, one of my favorite Jack the Ripper movies of all time, apart from the fucking horrible acting of Heather Graham, is From Hell, because I think what From Hell does so well is that it tells a fictional story, but it does it within the parameters of all the facts that they do know about the case. And that's what I really, really loved about the movie. Plus, put Robbie Coltrane in fucking anything, and it's wonderful, except Harry Potter.
You know what? When I think about that, that was actually oh God, one of probably 2 Jack the Ripper movies I've seen, and that was a really good one. Yeah,
it is. From Hell's really good, apart from Heather Graham's acting. But like all the other stuff about From Hell is based, like they actually on the double disc, they actually have this big documentary about Jack the Ripper with one of like these weird nerdy ripologists who knows all the fucking different suspects and blah 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 and what happened and stuff. And he actually goes through with photographs and descriptions and everything, going like, this is how well set up these crime scenes were in the movie. Like, that movie is as close to how the crime scene would have looked. Like, they were really weirdly meticulous in kind of putting it together. Now, the story itself is all sort of made up, but it is made up from, like, there are conspiracy theories that are very close to that story, just without the fantasy element that it has at the end of it. And so, like, that's one of my favorites in terms of setting, direction, cast and everything else. So I like that it was kind of fictionalized but had like a factual backing to the fiction. That's what I liked about it, because I'm a big conspiracy nut fan of like no, I'm not a conspiracy nut myself, but I love like movies about conspiracies and conspiracy nuts. Like I just like mad conspiracies. All right, so Mike Merriman asks, do you feel mismarketing films is becoming too common, especially for the horror genre? Guys, I'll throw it out to you guys. Do you think mismarketing films is becoming
I got this one. All right, so Michael Cera as Jack. I'm sorry.
We've moved on from that question, though.
We get the full-on mumblecore Noah Baumbach. No, I'm kidding. Well, I'm sorry. What was the question? I'm sorry. I was waiting to do that joke this whole time.
Jack the Ripper. With soundtrack by Nico and the Velvet Underground.
What was the question again?
The question was, for fuck's sake, Mo, do you feel mismarketing films is becoming too common, especially for the horror genre? I don't think horrors are really mismarketed. I think most horror films these days are terrible, and they're pretty badly marketed as well.
Yeah. Right. I see that way more. I see mismarketing done way more in action films than anything else. Like there's a lot of them out there that are really good, and I feel like the marketing team drops the ball on it big time and portrays the film in such a I mean, I think a great example, and I think me and you, John, have actually talked about this before, is that film Spy.
Yes.
Where they the marketing behind that movie is that, oh, she's inept, she doesn't know what she's doing. Meanwhile, like, that movie could have been for strong female leads what they were trying to do with the Ghostbusters movie.
Completely.
And like, she knew exactly what she was doing. She was badass as fuck through the whole fucking movie. And that whole entire movie is super fun. As far as horror movies is concerned, no, I agree with you. I don't think there's a lot of mismarketing at all. The movies that are coming out are just shit.
Yeah.
I was going to say the exact same thing. That's really what it falls on. Is that it ain't so much that they're mismarketed. It's just that they build up this, oh, it's going to be the scariest thing in the world. You know what? I have to be honest. It's almost on the same level of a athlete where they say, I'm the best. What, you think that athlete is going to say, I'm the worst thing in the world? No. You're trying to sell the movie. So, of course, you're going to say, oh, this is the scariest movie of all time. Of course, we all know that's going to be bullshit, but but hey, that's the way they market it. So I don't think it's really that big of a problem with horror movies. And I have to agree with Mo. It's more on the action side where they mess up.
Gerard Depardieu as
so that's it. And the last question from Mike Merriman is Doug Tilley correct in his assessment that Eric Roberts is the fucking man?
I have to recuse myself from this question, because if I answer it wrong, Doug will actually kill me.
Eric Roberts has always been the fucking man, so there's no way I can get around that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say yes, although I don't quite know what the evidence is for that. And by the way, all three of these movies, if people remember the sleazy Spader Springtime that we did, all three of these movies is worse than Jack's Back, even though that doesn't quite explain the whole Jack the Ripper thing. each one of these movies is worse than Jack's Back. I'm trying to think. I thought we got another question in the group, but I'm not seeing it.
I got it, guys. Tony Shalhoub is Jack the Ripper.
Here's the sad part about
Have I officially worn this joke out yet?
No. Here's the funny thing, Mo. I think you just hit pay dirt. I
may have just hit pay dirt because think about it. He's a thoroughly unassuming looking guy who could blend in if necessary and could probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen him portray sinister that often, but I mean, he's a good actor. He could probably do it.
Look. Just give him. Just make sure there's like a problem with him. Like, I don't know anything. Like,
right.
Jim would have a major issue with Shalhoub. Jim is not a fan of the Shalhoub. We had a whole anti-Shalhoub rant from Jim a couple of years back on the podcast. I don't quite know what Tony Shalhoub has done to Jim, but like somewhere along the line, he rubbed him up the wrong way.
That's weird.
You know.
No, I don't think physically.
No. That's not what I meant. I just meant it's like of all people, why Tony Shalhoub? You know.
Right, okay. I found the other questions, guys. We've got to wrap this up. But so Jim asks: is James Spader of Jack's Back that I just mentioned an exact cross between Anthony Perkins, the like kind of sleazy Grease level, and David Hasselhoff?
Huh? No.
I don't think so. I know where Jim is coming from. I understand like the sleaziness and the cheesiness come together to make like a kind of glorious Spaderness, but I'm not sure about that.
No. This doesn't have nothing of Spader in it. That's the problem about it. And plus, Anthony Perkins is straight up, on cocaine, so that's different.
William Shatner is so anyway.
Forrest Whitaker is
Forrest Whitaker is Lazy-Eyed Jack.
If you made Forrest Whitaker Jack the Ripper, you are not. Is going to be on the same level of acting as Anthony Perkins. It's going to surprise you.
Absolutely, it would be. It would be amazing,
especially if you told him he got bagels as a reward.
The man's a carbaholic. What can you say?
The man loves a bagel. Kirk Howley asks, does America have its own unsolved mystery as compelling as the Jack the Ripper case? I can think of the Zodiac Killer as one example. Any others? And would they make interesting films, or is there something about Jack the Ripper that touches on just the right formula? I think the whole thing with Jack the Ripper, like back in the day, is the smoky, foggy streets of old London town. Like, I think that's kind of, and there's a guy in the mist killing hookers. I think it has like death, sex, and old London. It has like all the things people
honestly,
love.
I don't know. I don't know what would necessarily compare American wise to that. But whatever it is, it would have to take place like in 1970s New York. It would have to.
Right.
Yeah. In order to do it the way you want it to be, it would have to be take place in New York. The only one we have close to that is probably Black Dahlia. The Black Dahlia case, that's probably the only one we have close to it.
Maybe, but that was only one death.
Yeah, that was only one death. I forgot. That was only one death. Yeah, see, I don't know that. So, yeah, you can easily make some type of murder mystery, but it would have to be like in New York, or it has to New York, maybe Chicago, where you can have this like it's isolation. You like there's a lot of people, but there's like isolation. There's still parts where you're alone. You feel this loneliness, and there's somebody stalking you.
Right.
I think that.
Well, it needs to be a scenario. It needs to have a location where the location is a character as well. Because old London is a character. Like it is. And old school like 70s New York is a character without a doubt.
Yeah, and I think as I said before, like what lends itself to the story is that it's needlessly grotesque. Like he removes organs, and there's little mysteries like, was he a surgically trained person because of the way that the certain hookers were killed, the fact that he's killing hookers in general, like there's so much wrapped up in the real story that is like cinematic and sleazy, that to kind of try and find an American version of that, I think that if it existed, we would have all heard about it, and I off the top of my head I can't think of one, because even Zodiac is not like Zodiac is kind of like scary, and certainly the movie and the story and everything is really well done and things like that. But it's not like insidious and sleazy and removing organs and weirdness. You know what I mean?
Right.
Robert Ginty is Jack the Ripper.
Oh my God, I would love a Ginty Ripper movie. Can you imagine a Ginty Ripper movie?
This one's for John. Steven Seagal is.
Oh fuck no! Right.
You know what?
We've officially no.
Slap the Ripper.
No,
or Jack the Slapper.
Jack the Slapper. Oh, flapper hands. I'm Jack the Flapper.
I'm gonna slap you, Johnny.
I'm gonna flap you around the movie.
Hey, big boy, you want to go with me? Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, Putin is, and Steven Seagal is the detective. So anyway, last question, absolute last question, then we've really got to say goodbye to this wonderful, wonderful show. But Steve from the Everything I Learned from Movies podcast, which you can find at EILF Movies on Twitter. He asks about a very strange movie that I haven't heard of, but I wondered if you two guys have. Have you guys heard of Cold Moon, which is a movie that apparently is coming out today and features Tommy Wiseau, Christopher Lloyd, and Frank Whaley, directed by the director of Arachnoquake?
No, I know. No, the fact that you said Christopher Lloyd and Tommy Wiseau and I heard nothing of it, and especially here's the funny thing. I have a friend. He follows everything Wiseau does. He hasn't mentioned one thing, especially Christopher Lloyd. So
well, look at that right there. I've got to track it down and watch it now, even though I find the sort of mythos of Wiseau very irritating and annoying and hipster. I will probably still track it down.
Yeah, I get irritated by the whole thing that's happening with that now, because I remember going to the theater, seeing The Room, and with a crowd of people who are kind of in the know, and it was a fun little cult experience, and now it's just turned into this big thing, and I'll probably see The Disaster Artist if I'm being completely honest, but I'm a little. Yeah, I'm a little.
I definitely am. I ain't gonna fake. I'm a little over. I've been waiting for this. All
right. All right. One last one. Luis Guzman is.
And Cheech Marin. Cheech Marin is.
I tell you what, if you're gonna do an American one, Jeff Fahey, you can't quite go wrong. And when you're talking
honestly, that actually would be really good casting.
Is Eric Roberts the fucking man? No, sure. Jeff fucking Fahey is. I'm going to end it on that bombshell. So thanks, guys. Thanks very much for doing the podcast. It's been wonderful. It's been a thrill. It's been a pleasure. Dee, why don't you tell the men's and the misses where they can find you?
Well, I'm on 3 Black Geeks. Just type in 3 Black Geeks, all one word. The number 3 Black Geeks. Just throw it into Google. Trust me, you'll find everything. Our YouTube page, our archive of our podcast. Currently, right now, we're doing horror. Just doing quote unquote horror movies, and it might not be horror movies. Last month, we just got done with When Animals Attack, aka When White People Fuck with Nature. So we just got. And I know what you're going to say. Wait a minute, but one of those is birdemic. Don't worry, we blame global warming on white people. Don't ask questions. We already did.
Blame everything on white people. That's kind of where we're at right now.
We kind of where we're at, but
it's kind of true. That's what happens if you've been in power for hundreds of thousands of years.
But that being said, just type in 3 Black Geeks. You can find out. Like I said, you can find our YouTube page. You can find our our podcast archive page, our Twitter page, all of that. So just go ahead. There you go.
Do it, because it's awesome. Thanks so much for being on the show, D. Mo, I know you're not doing anything routinely right now, but where can people find you?
Doing No Budget Nightmares.
No Budget Nightmares. Of course, sorry. That's always going on.
We got the big 100th episode coming up. It only took us 6 years to get there.
Nice, well done.
Whereas anybody else following our schedule would have done it in 4. So that's good. It's actually a big thing. We have 3 huge and 1 unexpected interview lined up for our listeners.
I have not been asked to be on the show, so it can't be that fucking good.
John has not been on since episode 10.
Yeah.
We are now at episode 100.
Yeah.
But of course, that being said, we don't have anybody on ever, really. So I think this is only the second or third time we actually had people other than me and Doug on the show, because me and Doug are
on your 30th episode, you had people write in and send stuff in.
Right. Yeah. So you were on episode 10. We did our 30th episode spectacular, which was just some random number that we decided deserved to be recognized. And now we're doing episode 100. It's going to be big. And when I mean big, I mean it's going to be a ridiculously long episode, but probably 4.5 hours. But yeah, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/group/NoBudgetNightmares, all one word. Or you can find our archive on NoBudgetPodcast.com. Follow me on Twitter. I'm drunk at VHS. Or Doug, who is not currently here, at Doug_Tilley. That's Tilley. And
not
that's
that he needs any more fucking promoting. Come on.
No, he doesn't. But you get into the groove of saying that whole thing every time.
Doug Tilley, who is interviewing Eric Roberts live on stage. That's insane.
I'm so excited about the possibilities that might open up for No Budget Nightmares to do something similar, in the same sort of idea. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but it would be super cool. Honestly, our dream is to do a screening of Science Crazed and to do a little panel discussion afterwards with me and Doug and maybe Josh Johnson or something that.
Mo, we have a similar goal too. Our goal is actually, oh my gosh, there's a movie that never came out. It was a dance movie called Boogie Town. And I am not lying to you when I tell you this. Think of Romeo Must Die, but It's dancing involved, and I'm not lying about this. Everybody has Dragon Ball Z type powers.
That sounds amazing.
It never came out. It was the same people who made
that sounds like Double Dragon almost, but yeah.
Right? Actually, you know what? We won't never know because it was never released. It was never released. There's only a trailer on YouTube and was supposed to come out. I think it was supposed to come out 2010, and it never came out. Our dream is to track down the filmmaker, get a whole lot of people to basically say release the movie, and we have a screener for it.
Yeah, right.
I really, man, it's the perfect bad movie. We already know it's bad.
I'm telling you, dude, that sounds to me like The Last Dragon meets The Double Dragon. That's what that sounds to me like. I can only presume that at some point Robert Patrick with dyed blonde hair shows up. I can just assume that at some point.
No, actually, Robert Patrick showed up. That would improve the movie. That would actually improve the movie. So yeah.
And as far as pop culture implications are concerned, that could be the next Miami Connection or something to that effect.
Oh my gosh! I think the only reason why he didn't release it because the people that's in it is the stars that are in it are actually R&B singers, and I think the reason why it never came out was because that will probably just destroy their careers. Even though ironically, nobody has an album out ever since then, so it didn't even matter.
It will just retroactively stop their greatest hit sales. Okay, so with that, guys, thanks ever so much. This has been an epic After Movie Diner podcast and a thoroughly enjoyable one. Hopefully, I'll try and get this up by Monday, Tuesday at the very latest. But thanks so much for being in on this, guys, and let's do it again soon.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
All the best.
All right.
Spooks and trolls are just a myth, so says my psychiatrist. Ghosts and goblins don't exist, he keeps telling me. Boo! The ghosts I see are always sad. Boo-hoo! Everybody thinks I'm mad. Tonight we'll show there'll be no sleep for you, as long as we keep saying boo. Ghosts drop in to say hello. Through the walls they come and go. Here comes my old mate Banquo. It's freezing on the heath. It's very parky. The ghosts I see are always sad. Everybody thinks he's mad. Tonight we'll show there'll be no sleep for you, as long as we keep saying boo. Why can't I ever dream of nice things? Fairy chiefs and sticky sugar mice things. Can ye ever rest dancing in an orchard? Ooh, and Piglet strangling a mole. Ghosts like dressing up in sheets and wandering around the streets. They wait until you're half asleep, and then they wake you up. Boo! The ghosts I see are always sad. Boo! Everybody thinks he's mad. Tonight we're introducing Hamlet's dad, with half a pint of poison in his ear. Roll me on. Boo!